welcome to Keep Your Torch Lit podcast. This is Sam here. So what we're going to do for this podcast is this is going to be the exit interview podcast. So basically, we have about 30 to 40 minute exit interviews with each of the 5 finalists of season 4. Starting out with Nate, we then go to Matthew, Kat, Shannon, and then Dale. Those are going to be back to back, and it's just going to be us interviewing them about their games. Now, these were all recorded out of order in different days with different groups of people. So just bear with us here. For Nate, it was me, Jack, and Sarah. For Kat and for Matthew, it was me and Ian. And then Shannon and Dale was me, Jack, and Sarah. So it kind of bounces around a little bit, but that's what's going on for this podcast. So without any further ado, here we go right into the interview with Nate. Welcome, Nate. So good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Oh, what have you been up to since season 4 ended?
Just like a few years ago. Yeah, I graduated from college, and now I live in New Mexico. I'm working at a new job.
Wait,
Yeah.
I did not know you were in New Mexico.
Yeah, I just moved like a month ago.
Whoa, what do you do in New Mexico?
I work for a company called Meow Wolf. It's an arts entertainment company.
Whoa.
Yeah, I work for the CEO, so I kind of just am on her beck and call 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What part of New Mexico?
Santa Fe.
Okay. So like still kind of a city vibe, right?
Kind of. It's definitely a smaller town. It's very beautiful, like in the mountains. It's like the elevation here is 7,500 feet.
Oh.
So yeah, it was a little bit of a adjustment when I was working out.
Yeah, like going on runs.
After
so
like
high up.
2 minutes.
I bet you could say that you were El Norte above the ground.
Yeah, if that's how directions work.
It's like that one was a stretch, but I'll just go with it.
It sounds like it would be the name of like a mountain here, because
true.
Spanish here.
There you go. Nice. Wait, so how long have you been doing this job for?
Literally a little over a month. Like I started June 1st. I started.
Nice,
so it's
right
all
on.
pretty recent, yeah. But I just graduated in May too, so.
Yeah,
Do
congrats.
you know anyone in New Mexico?
Not a soul.
Oh my gosh. Are
Yeah.
you making friends?
Like kind of. I've made friends at work, but they're all
Okay.
like, you know,
Older?
at least
work
45.
friends.
So it's a slow process. It's definitely a very quiet town, which I don't love, but
Yeah.
it's whatever.
You just got to get them all to watch Survivor Michigan, and then they'll know you so well.
I don't know if I want people to watch Survivor to like, get to know me, but maybe.
Yeah, what's it been like watching it like as it's been airing, like 2 years later?
It is weird. Like I thought I was gonna be much more mortified to watch it than I actually have been. I've like definitely been playing into like my narcissism and like loving seeing myself. I'm like, wow, I'm just so funny. Like I'm such a gift to this show.
Oh wait, sorry. One thing I noticed is that
go.
your confessionals were always like super high quality. Like,
Yeah.
were you filming with a camera or something?
No, I was just using I would always just turn my iPhone around, so it was like the.
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your confessionals were so funny. I swear. It's just like gold every time.
That's what I would think too. So I was pretty proud of them. Watching them back, I was like, because in the moment I was like, I don't know, like right after Survivor ended, I was like, while it was happening too, like I was like, I can never watch this. Like I'm just gonna be absolutely mortified by everything I do.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't as cringy as I thought. So I'm kind of glad about that.
Yeah,
Nice.
you really had a whole puzzler. You really had like a whole character going for you, like the puzzler. It was just so fun to watch. You just like you just managed to like do what you had to do to make it by week after week.
I know. It was just like grasping for straws like the entire way through. Like I never had any idea what I was doing, but it just kind of ended up working out. until it stopped working out. But yeah, it was definitely like there was never like deep planning on my part. It was always just like getting very lucky week to week because other people were deemed more of a threat than I was that week. It would just always change. I think like that was my paper plate award for Survivor. Most likely to be shocked at Tribal.
Oh my god, I forgot we gave those out.
Those-
What
so
was gonna
funny.
happen? So my face at Tribal and like throughout half, like 50% of my footage is just me like absolutely shocked because I really just never knew what was going on.
That's funny. Yeah, especially like the one where like Jackson played his
Yeah,
vote
I
steal,
remember
and
that
like you were
one.
just so shocked.
I know, because that one I was just like, what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, don't even worry about voting. You know,
Don't
you
even
can vote for me if you
worry.
want to. It doesn't even matter.
I know. I was like, that's weird.
No, but I mean, like you know, as much as you say, like, oh wow, I got lucky week after week, you definitely did some things to keep yourself safe. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think especially the week of that Ben went home was like that was so crazy. Like
Yeah.
what you did exactly what you needed to stay alive that week.
Yeah. I think I was very like scrappy in the moment a lot. But yeah, it was never like I never felt secure in any week. Like it was always like last minute attempts to save myself, I felt like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to like before the game even started, did you know that Ben and Ivy were going to be playing?
Yeah, I don't really remember exactly when I found out. That I feel like I knew about Ivy first, and I think we immediately like contacted each other and we were like, let's do this. Like,
Yeah.
go in. And because we met actually before. We like did a confessional basically before Survivor even started, before we knew. We like set up, yeah, like I think it was like an hour before the first time we all met, like went and got our buffs, and like the first Survivor thing we like met and we talked for like a half hour and like put code, like we set each other up as code names in our phone and like we were like open line of communication, like everything, like we're going to the end. So
oh
that
my
was nice.
gosh.
So that was the only like long-term thing I had. That's like Ivy was the only like she was just like my rock through the whole thing because that's how I knew everything that was happening.
Oh.
Yeah. So that sucked when she got sent home. That was awful.
Yeah. Your guys' confessionals were my favorite. They were always so funny.
I know. I loved my like my conspiracy of like people eating in my house.
Yeah.
That's so good. You know, Ivy had the popcorn.
Yeah, that popcorn killer.
Yeah.
You and Jackson. That was my favorite one. Was like when you were telling Jackson about it, and he was like, "Wait, like, should I not be eating this?" Like, and then he just got voted off that episode.
Yeah, because I had no expectation that he was going home. Like I really until it obviously happened. So like I thought he was gonna be the one to break the food curse.
The curse.
He was the third victim.
Nope. So one of the things I'm curious about is that one week where you know, that we were just talking about where Ben went home. Like, how did that whole thing, like chronologically, how did it happen? Like, did you follow Camila to the ugly? Like, what happened with all of that?
That was the night like 2 years ago. So I'm really doing some recall here. That was the night. I'm pretty sure it all happened the same night as the watermelon challenge, like where we were smashing them with our heads and like taking them to the bucket. That was awful. And I don't remember who I drove to the challenge with. I want to say like Camila or someone, or no, Megan. But
Yeah, I think
whatever. After the challenge, it was very like she was, oh gosh, I like remember this. There was something about like Camila and Megan leaving that I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense, because I feel like
I think it was that
say something
Camila went. I think in the episode you were saying like Camila asked to get dropped off at the ugly, but she didn't have her backpack.
But she didn't have a backpack.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And like I was like, is that anything? And I live right near the ugly. Like I live on South Camp or Central Campus, like right near there. So I was like, when they dropped me off. Yes, I remember this. So they dropped me off, and I like started to walk back to my apartment, but then I like just went to the ugly because it's literally so close to my apartment. And so I was just like sneaking around, and then I saw then I was just like, oh, they're meeting without, like, I was like, oh, everyone's lying to me. And that's how that kind of started. I just remember that week being like crazy, like having so many meetings with people. So I truly couldn't give you like a chronological order, but I just remember that I definitely thought I was going home that week. And I was until like mere minutes before or hours before tribal, which was crazy. But yeah, it was kind of just like, just like grasping for straws and trying to. That was kind of like when every week when I thought I was going home, I would just kind of try to do whatever I could, like whether that's like faking an apology or like trying to reason, which I don't know if that's strategy, but I was just like, I'll just do like a shotgun approach and try a bunch of ways to try to like save myself.
Yeah.
One of them works out.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it worked. Like, I mean,
that's when I felt like that was the first moment that I was like, oh, I'm playing Survivor, because I was like, this is so smart of me. Like, I discovered them, and like, what do I do with this information? Like, how do I flip votes? Like, if they're a 4-person alliance, what do I do with that? Like, that's when and that was like pretty early in the game, like week 4. So I was like, oh, now it's like, now we're playing.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
And then like, tribal council, Ben goes home, and it was still just like shocking.
I know. Yeah, because I like, as I did every week, I just entered it having no idea. Like, I did as much as I could to save myself, but like, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about being on a tribe with Jet? Oh wait, yeah, because right after that was when you had to like pick the tribes and stuff. Like,
yeah, and then it was so awkward. Like, not that it wasn't awkward before, but like that I remember picking like the people to go. It was so awkward because I was like, I know you guys all don't want me here. Like, you all know that you just like blindsided Ben. Like, it was just like bad vibes, and so like I was happy that the swap was happening. But yeah, it was definitely awkward.
Yeah. Can we talk about your relationship with Kat? Like, do you still dislike her? Or like, what was that whole thing?
I never, I went into the Survivor, I was like, I'm here to make good TV. I was like, I know TV is good. And I was like, I want good TV. And so like, she said something at like the first challenge that I was like, oh, I was like, she seems rude. So I just like went with it. And like, I remember right after we were walking to, we were like all walking to a producer's house to get our headshots taken. And they were just like one of the producers was just like walking backwards, like filming me. And I was like, you want good TV? I was like, I think she's a bitch. Like, I don't know if I don't think that actually made it in.
That's so funny.
But I was like, I gotta have feuds. I don't actually dislike, I mean, I don't know. I don't talk to anyone from Survivor, not gonna lie. Like, people definitely didn't actually like me. Like,
what?
Maybe I didn't. Well, like playing it, like I didn't form like friendships to last a lifetime. You know, like I didn't like, and that was. I had a lot of things going on that semester. Like,
common theme with season 4.
Odd. What?
It's a common theme with season 4.
Yeah, like I didn't like the only person I still talk to is Ben, just because like we know each other through like our major too, so like we are exposed outside of Survivor. But I really haven't talked to anyone from Survivor besides Ivy and Ben. And not like I don't strongly dislike any of them really. But Kat was just like an easy target to be like a feud.
Right.
Honestly, it's something more than that. I mean, I don't know how it feels.
I mean, it seems like you guys kind of made up a little bit, like at the very end in the finale, like right before you were voted off.
Yeah, and then she was like, I don't accept his apology. And like, I don't know. I feel like it's easy to forget that like when we're filming confessionals, like we only have our little like 1/16th slice of knowledge of what's going on. And so like, I don't actually know how people think. Like,
yeah,
you know, like, I don't know. So like, I never meant like malintent towards her, but like then you learn that other people like like I thought she hated me the most of anyone in the game, but then like I realized like, oh, a lot of other people hate me much more than she does. So I personally don't think that we have like legitimate hard feelings, but there may still be hard feelings. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there are. I feel like Kat doesn't like, I don't know, does she hold grudges? Maybe she does.
She kind of seems like she would, but
I
also,
know,
like,
right? But like
she didn't
also
take Survivor that seriously.
Yeah.
I don't think that Kat has given Survivor much thought in the last 2 years at all. Like, I don't think that anyone's taking any space in her brain. So I don't think you need to worry about that.
Yeah.
That's funny though. So yeah, talk about the puzzles. Like that first time on the swap tribe when you like literally came back and like beat Katie that one puzzle on the slide puzzle, just like whipped right through it.
Well, because I've always been like just like really into puzzles ever since I was little. Like I'm like, as I got older, like all the apps on my phones that I like did in like my spare time was always like little like puzzle games that were just easy like that. And I had a slide puzzle app on my phone for years. So like when I heard, well, I guess I don't remember if we knew that it was a slide puzzle, but I was just like, oh, puzzle, like that's my strength. Like all the other ones, I was like, I'm not gonna throw the ball into the thing. Like it's not gonna like that's where I can best suit. Like that's where I can best help. And so they let me do the puzzle, and it was good because we were behind. And that one was like a big win for me because I was like, wow, look at me. I'm just like the MVP of this swap tribe. Like I just am the reason we won. And I didn't really it's so funny because I didn't realize that both tribes were working for like my tribe to lose specifically so like they could vote out me. And so I was like, in the moment when I finished, like the footage is so funny because I'm like, yes, and like my tribe is like feigning like celebration because they just won. Also, like that wasn't supposed to fucking happen. And then the other tribe is like, are you shitting me?
It's like every single person is pissed off except for you.
The world than everyone else because I'm like, we did it, we won.
And Megan, I guess Megan was excited.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I wasn't even there for that.
Jack.
Also, hi, Jack.
Hey, sorry, I was driving back home, joined in a little late.
Where are you coming from? The market?
Yeah, the market in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and they talk about your relationship with Jack throughout the game.
There wasn't much of a relationship to talk about. I was just like, he's a returnee, he has to go.
Yeah, and I feel like I heard that, and I was just like, okay, Nate wants to get me out, so he has to go. And that was for like 5 votes.
Yeah, basically.
I feel like you guys threw each other's names out like every time.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, I feel like you guys threw each other's names out like literally every tribal council for like every episode you guys were together.
Yeah. Well, I think Jack was definitely like, I don't know, like the unofficial like lead or like the top player in El Norte. And so like I knew that if he wanted me out, like he was like he had sway over people. Like he had like kind of Katie and Megan and Camila pretty solidly like in his pocket. And so like I was just like, okay, I need to get him out. And that was always, I feel like that was always my reasoning for getting people out. I was like, why would you want to keep them in their threats? And I don't think it's not like I controlled a single vote. So those are using like talking to people and being like, don't vote me out. Who's gonna vote for me? Like at final tribal, like I'm gonna lose.
I mean, you made it through a lot of votes. Like, how did you make it through all those like votes where you were in the minority?
I like just like last minute luck, like winning immunity. Like I don't even know how many times. I should like go through and look up how many times I actually received a vote at tribal, because I feel like it was definitely like 70% of tribal councils in which I was at. And so like I literally never went into a vote confident after like week 3. Yeah, like starting week 4, like that was the last time I went into a vote confident unless I had won like one immunity. So every time I was like, "This is probably me going home." So it really was just like, it honestly was less of stuff on my part and more of like other groups making decisions that like, oh, let's not do Nate this week, we'll do him next week. And I just kind of kept getting pushed to next week, and then I would win.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
I mean, like, I do feel like you deserve some credit for your relationship with Ivy and how like Ivy was also watching your back like all these weeks, and like you were kind of pushing the target onto other people like Jack and Katie and Megan.
Yeah, that was the only person I knew I could trust, like actually in the game. And then I was like a little sussed out in that one confessional because she was like, "Well, you're going to fight," and I was like, "What? No, like we're going to the end. What are you talking about?" That like sussed me out, but yeah, like Ivy was definitely like my biggest piece like of strategy, and like I mean Ivy had a lot more like relationships that she was fostering on the other side, but like I think. But we were definitely each other's most important relationship, like biggest piece of strategy.
Right.
And that was like my only like lifeline throughout, because that was established like before Survivor even started. So I was like, this is how I'll win. I was like, so simple, like we'll just get to the end because no one knows. But then like Ben knew that me and Ivy knew each other, which was like not ideal. And I think, I mean, it wasn't like a secret that me and Ivy were talking by like pretty soon into the game.
Right.
But I don't think people ever knew like the full extent of like what our relationship was. But, you know, like how much did we do with it? Because we got 5th and 7th, 8th. I don't even know. So, or 5th and 7th, I think. Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, I was proud of it. Like,
yeah.
Like, I mean, the only reason I did this was because my friend Bree told me to apply.
Bree
did much worse than me. So. I was like, I beat Bree.
You love Bree.
That's so funny. I wanted to ask you about your final decision to vote for Shannon. I remember like you were kind of heated. You were like, the jury's so dumb. Like Shannon's the clear winner. Like, I mean, do you remember like what you were thinking?
I want Dale to win. Like if that was not evident. Like I did not want Dale to win. Shannon and I had like very, very loose connection. Like she was one of the people that I would like when we talked to, I would be like, this is not awful. Like everyone else, I was like, we both are sitting here knowing that we're just lying to each other. And like Shannon, I feel like we did have times in which we were like being honest with each other. And like, I mean, I did try to work with her. I feel like I didn't put a ton of effort in, but I definitely made an effort to work with her and like be honest with her and like develop some sort of relationship with her throughout. And I think my like at the end, I really was just like anyone but Dale. And like, I didn't think it was realistic for Kat to get the votes. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to try to switch people onto Shannon. Even though like, I will admit, I don't know if Shannon played like, as she talks about in many, many confessionals throughout, like she's like, I haven't been making moves. And she was just kind of Dale's side piece. So like,
yeah.
I also did not like know anything about Final Tribal and like voting. And so I was not like, I didn't know that was like something you had to think about and like develop relationships and like keep them and like get people's votes. I didn't actually know that was a thing.
Wait, did you not know much about Survivor before? I didn't know that for some reason.
No, I was kind of like Kat. I was just not as loud about it.
Okay.
In terms of like my knowledge, like I have like memories of watching like Survivor with my family, but never like following a season or like anything. And so I had a very loose understanding of how it actually worked. But my roommate, one of my good friends, he knew Survivor very well. So he'd be like, no, you're doing this all wrong. Yeah. So he was like my Survivor info.
Yeah. Also, like something that the viewers don't see a lot is that there's this Ponderosa chat going on. So did you guys talk a lot in there? Like, did people try to sway decisions?
I don't think so. I feel like the group chats in general were just like No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I also don't think I ever contributed to the
Yeah, I feel like I think I talked
I
a
bet
lot in that
Jack
group
like
chat.
took over.
Yeah. Everyone was like, no,
When
I
Jack
don't
joined,
Mhm.
I bet there was just paragraphs.
But yeah, because I was the first one in, so it was just me for a while. I was just chilling.
because Ponderosa
Yeah.
is like just the jury chat, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't, and like I lost. I don't really think I did much in between like me getting out and like final tribal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I contributed to Ponderosa.
Well, what was your reaction when you guys got to tribal council and you saw that Dale has not won the final immunity? Like, were you thinking that like, oh, like Dale's just gonna go home? Like, what was your reaction when you heard that, instead Matthew had gone home?
Well, I wasn't too surprised because I knew, like, I was pretty sure it was going to be Matthew that week, because like I don't know, because it seemed like from my conversations it was like, oh well, I could try to get people to turn on Matthew. Like, I mean, I talked to Dale and Shannon that week, and like I know Shannon was like, like she was a little tiny minuscule bit considering Matt. So I was like, I know Dale doesn't like Matt had been annoying people the whole game, so it wasn't too surprising that like that was the final three, to me. But yeah.
Cool. If you could go back and redo it, what would you do differently, if anything?
Remember George's name.
Oh
Yeah. Oh my God.
Stay at
You want to talk about that
Oh.
challenge? In like
the challenge that I should have remembered, like the challenge that I left because I had an exam the next morning, and yes, the rumors are true. I was the reason that every single Survivor event happened in the hours of the morning, and I still think that's fucked up that a producer told Kat and that she angled for weeks.
Right.
Tried to get me out. I was like, that is not fair. That is not part of the game. Like, I know Survivor Michigan is not going to be the same as like traditional Survivor because we're not on an island and like this is all we're doing. But I was like, that is not fair. I was like, your schedule, you want to do everything early in the morning. I did some challenges that I did not want to. I remember one time it was early on. It was like it was a challenge on the die when there was like all the snow and you're like jumping on one foot or something.
Oh yeah.
And
the one where you fell.
Yeah, it was right after it was right after MLK weekend because I had gone to Boston to visit my friend, and I was supposed to get back the night before, and my fucking flight got delayed like all night. Like I landed at like 5:30 a.m. and the challenge was like at 7 or something ridiculous. So I literally was there like no sleep, like just misery, and I was like, this is ridiculous.
Aww.
Yeah, but no, I do think it was fucked up that I don't know, my schedule was brought into conversation so much. But yeah, I had an exam the next morning and it was like it was one of those like endurance challenges and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like I have to study. Like I'm not doing well in this class.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna win anyway because there's too many people, they're too persistent. So I was like, oh, I'll just go get one of those advantages. And I had that sick wipeout slide in, to get the I don't remember what it's
the idol clue.
Yeah, the clue, that's what it was.
With like Matthew. Like did he share it with you like right when you guys both got to that cone?
Oh god, I thought I got to it with I have no idea. I think we agreed to share it with each other. But I don't quite remember. But I was like, okay, that's something like I can leave the challenge and I won't have to like leave totally empty-handed. Like I can go get one of these. So I was like, and then I can go home and study.
Right.
And that's what I did. But then I feel like I went idol hunting too, like with something later. So probably didn't do well on the exam. But I was like, I don't want to stand here. And so I just was like in a bad mood going into the challenge. And I just was like, I don't know who this person is. Like George was his name. That like he was our guest host because Cooper was gone. And I just like didn't pay attention to him at all. And that proved to be my fatal mistake. But yeah, that was and I didn't rewatch the Final Five challenge, but
just can't see it again. Just can't relive that.
No, it was so painful because it was like I was so far ahead. Like I was like at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes ahead of people. And it was like a crossword puzzle. Like, and it was just like, I don't know. I feel like it seems, I mean, I haven't watched the footage because like it's emotionally intense for me, but like looking at crossword and it's like names and it's just a 5-letter word that ends with an E. Like it's so hard to think of names.
Right.
And that's why I just started, and then I got desperate and I was like, I don't know what else to do because I'm sitting here, I can't think this name.
Yeah, and then you left.
I know, I was like, I was like, I didn't know what else to do, and I was like, well, maybe that person's here and I can just like ask them their name.
Right. I mean, that's smart.
I don't think I would have ever come up with George just like sitting there. I mean, I probably would have, but like, and it was just one of those things that was just like, I was just in like desperation and I didn't know what else to do. And I was like, well, maybe they're here, like that I can do. Cause I knew I was far ahead. I knew that, but I was like, fuck. And it was literally
when you left,
last word, like the last word on the crossword.
You're so
everything else.
And right when you left, Matthew like told, he was like, it's George. It's George.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Just so ridiculous. Like one name.
Oh my God.
And like,
let's say if you would have got that, I feel like you would have had a really good chance to win the next one too.
Yeah, I do think I would have won that just because like I didn't watch the whole challenge, but like none of those bitches knew the bus system. And like I'm a dual degree student on like North and Central campus. And like I know the bus system like the back of my hand. And I just feel like I would have had an advantage in like navigating that part of it, but I don't know.
And it ended with a puzzle too, like a big puzzle that took them 45 minutes to do it.
Yeah. I know. So, it's just like literally one name is like low-key the reason that I'm not the winner, but whatever.
I was gonna say, if you won those two challenges, like how do you think your chances would have been in Final Tribal Council?
I mean, I feel like I definitely would have been, well, I don't know. I think it would have been good. Like I really think the only person who was a true threat, Kat was so confident she could beat me. And like not to keep harping on me and Kat's little tiff. But like I was just like, girl, like, why do you think you're gonna win over me? Like, what have you done? She also might not have, because like I really didn't understand like the voting thing until like as like halfway through, and I was like, oh, like they vote, like the jury choose, because when people were like, oh, they're on the jury, I was like, and like, they just have to come and they don't get to, and so I like really didn't get it, and so like I wasn't playing like that, and so I also didn't know like if you're supposed to vote like truthfully and like with integrity or like just on who you like I didn't know like what the gist was around voting, and so like I really thought I could win in terms of like from a gameplay standpoint, not because people don't like, I knew people didn't like me, but like I think my story of just like, and I said this in the like my confessionals, but like being like kind of having a target on my back from the beginning, like, or very early on, and being wanted out of this game, and like then being the last surviving member of El Norte when they all wanted me gone, like, and like winning challenges when it was like important, like I don't know, I feel like I had a lot of like moments that like spoke to like my gameplay, and I just feel like Dale just had like a gorilla grip on everyone's like on everyone's minds for some reason, which I'll never understand, because I was like, well, why are you just like walking this man into the final to win and beat you? I don't get it. Weird choice on their part, which I tried to tell people. But yeah, like and so I assume Dale and I would have been in the final 3 together if I had won challenge 5 and then subsequently like the challenge for 4th place.
Yeah, wait, Jack, who would you have voted for if it was like Nate, Dale, and Kat or Shannon?
Yeah. I feel like Dale I would have voted for with anyone. I feel like your best chance would have been against Matthew and Kat. Like that would have been really close for me, just because I did not like Matthew.
Yeah.
And like I just not respect, I don't know, just how he played the game, you know, just he didn't really do a whole lot. So I think that probably would have been your best chance, at least for my vote. I don't know about other people, but I feel like Dale was probably getting a lot of votes in most Final Threes.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't understand why people wanted to take him.
Yeah.
I think Dale was kind of my obvious. Like, I feel like I could have beat Shannon because, like, what did she do throughout the game? Like, I can't really name anything that she, like, did besides just, like, listen to Dale. So, and, like, name us after, like, carbohydrates.
Yeah. Well, I think
really enjoy it. I love being a Bread Bull.
That's funny.
But I was like, I don't know. I didn't, and, like, Kat, like, I don't know. But, yeah, I guess it's interesting. Like, I don't even remember how the votes split at final.
I think it was you and Megan voting together and everyone else for Dale.
I just don't I don't know. I don't really understand like what, like, I feel like Dale didn't actually do anything. People just did things for him. So I was like, I don't think he should win.
Well, he got people to do things for him, you know? Like you're saying,
yeah, I guess.
Shannon,
like,
you don't want to vote for Shannon because she did things for Dale. You don't want Dale to win because Shannon did things for him. Like,
yeah, that's true. I don't know. Yeah, I was just like, this is so weird. Why does no one want to make a move? And then we tried to make a move and failed. Epically.
I mean, hey, you definitely made some things happen in the pre-merge. You won the challenges when you needed to, and I think you would have really kept causing more chaos if you just didn't remember George's name. So
yeah, really. And I had the funniest confessionals, so like.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I just
they were insane.
I'm pretty content with my time on Survivor, barring, you know, getting out because of one person's name. But
yeah. You have any final thoughts on Survivor Michigan, on the whole experience?
I don't think so. It was like a whirlwind. I never knew what was going on, but it was a lot of fun. And it was not at all what I expected, but like I don't know what I expected to. So yeah, I don't regret doing it. So I guess that's positive. It was fun.
Yeah. No, you were such a great presence on screen. You had such great confessionals, and like I thought you had a really great like underdog kind of story, like coming through, being the last El Norte, winning all the challenges. Like I thought you really added a lot to the season. So it was really fun watching it all happen. And
I was
really
trying to make good TV from the beginning, so
yeah.
I'm glad I could contribute my part.
Definitely.
Well, thank you for having me on this.
Thanks for coming on, Nate.
Yeah, when does this air?
It'll be posting up soon, like the next week or so.
Okay.
Because you're gonna
on my episode, or are they gonna just be like individual?
Yeah, just gonna be like, you know, whatever 30-ish minute segments of all the final 5, and then we'll just like post it. So be sick.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for coming, Nate.
Yeah.
Hope you make more friends in New Mexico.
Yes. Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, and we're live. Welcome to the Lion himself, Matthew Israel, on Keep Your Torch Lit once again.
It's my second exit interview on Keep Your Torch Lit, so very excited.
Love it. The only person to have two, actually, no, never mind. There's been multiple.
I guess they have. But mine's the
no
longest.
One's had them both two. No one's had them this far apart before.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. So, longest gap between appearances, but you know, I remember the first time we did season 1 like that I was on was during season 4, and like Jack came over to my place, and I think you did too, and then we like phoned in Sarah, and so it was like during season 4, and I think we made some sort of like subtle reference to the fact that we were playing season 4. I can't remember when it was, but I think Jack and I were like sort of kind of working together, so we also used it as like an opportunity to talk a little bit of game. But it is weird that, you know, the first time I was on this was during season 4, and now I'm talking about it. So very fun.
It's a kind of cyclical thing.
It is, yes.
Yep. So when you play like season 9, then that will be like well, probably, you know, like right now when you're on season 9 of Michigan, and like this podcast is coming out, right? Like
maybe I'll do some all-star stuff while I'm filming. Yeah.
Oh, spoilers, whatever. You know, Matthew Israel's 4th return. You know,
well, I mean, on the podcast, that's what I meant.
Oh yeah, no, I meant playing the games. You play the game every other. You play the game every
few years.
Every year, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess I would have had to have played season 7 then, but or maybe I did. Who knows?
Who knows? But how have you been, Matthew? What have you been up to the last few years?
So I guess since season 4, I graduated twice with my undergrad, and I did a 1-year master's for accounting. And then I stuck around and was involved in season 5 and season 6 in some capacity. I won't say exactly what, but in some capacity. And then started working full time in January. So that's what I've been doing as an accountant. And I am going to get my CPA license eventually. I passed my exams. I just got to wait on a work experience thing. But yeah, still obviously very into Survivor and loved watching season 4 back. So it is kind of sad that it's officially wrapping up. But you kind of know that every season kind of has its cycle and it's long, but at some point you do have to kind of put a close to it. So
cool.
Part of the party is the end, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then a new party starts again. So yeah, just I have almost as much fun being involved as a player in a season as I do a producer, and seeing everything that we worked on, and this was it was slightly more exciting than watching season 3 back, just because I was playing, but I still am just as involved and excited about watching it. So
you excited? You excited for All Stars to come out?
I am. I mean, that was one of my favorite parts of the premiere when we were watching it, was just waiting, because I knew at the last minute and a half was going to be my first look at All Stars. I hadn't seen the trailer yet, but
nobody
just knowing, yeah,
even Sam and these guys, no one's seen it.
Just knowing what's in store. I mean, when I was pulling up my photo booth before we hopped on, just to make sure I was looking okay, I found some old All Stars confessionals and voting booths things that I had in my photo booth, so I was watching those back right before, just reminiscing on some fun tribals. So
that's amazing. I love that. Yeah, it's funny. So Ian had a finale, viewing for the final episode, and Matthew and you were there, so it was cool seeing your reaction to all these big moments in the finale. Gotta love the classic Easter egg. That was such a great challenge, start to finish. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, that was I was definitely a little frazzled in that moment, because I was like, this is a challenge. If I win this, I can go to the final 3 and I can just sit back and enjoy this week. I was really scared about being voted out right before the end. So I'm like, okay, this is I didn't trust myself. I knew it was going to be a dicey week no matter what. So I was like, okay, I can just forget about all that if I win this challenge. And I'm like, I'm not going to fall one Easter egg short. I'm not going to let Shannon get a huge lead on me. I need to find this. I need to do whatever it takes. So put out a bounty on it, and it was right in front of me, I think, when the guy found it. But I am a man of my word, and it did help me. I caught up to Shannon, and if I would have been better on that puzzle, it could have saved me, and could have gotten me to the end. But I kind of blew it on the puzzle. So
you stand by that decision then?
Absolutely. I mean, I got to I know this, and you said this, the footage wasn't quite there for it, but I got the egg, I caught up to Shannon at El Bell Field where we had to do the boot order, and I flew through the boot order, and then I actually ran in front of her and got to the stadium. And as I was running up the street towards the stadium, I was like, if there's nothing else, I win. There was a minute there where I was picturing myself I'm in the final 3, and then I was like, wait a second, no, there's probably something else there, and then as I get up and Cooper's not celebrating, and I see some cups, I'm like, I knew it, there's a puzzle. So I tried my best, and I honestly didn't realize how long we were there when I was watching it back, and it was 40 minutes. I was like, I could have sworn we were there for 20 minutes, but it was a hard puzzle, and I think I was definitely just frazzled and looking over at Shannon and Kat and being like, if they get it, this is over. So if I maybe would have calmed down and just tried to follow it a little bit more, but I definitely was maybe more of in a rush. Just
I feel like
every second counts. Yeah.
I feel like all 3 of you guys, after such a long and grueling challenge, is an especially difficult thing to do, to solve those kinds of puzzles. After hours of running around doing all this crazy shit.
And it was sort of too maybe it was a steps puzzle. So there were some where I would just I wouldn't go through and double check my work. I was just I really wanted to get a check, because everything I didn't want to spend a ton of time going through it when maybe somebody else has it. So I was maybe a little more focused on speed than I was accuracy. If I had known that Shannon and Kat were both going to take 40 minutes, I would have gone a lot slower. But I didn't know they were both going to take that long, and that sort of made me take that long too.
So was it so close that you felt like you could taste it, and you're running up to the stadium, and you're
I have this like speech in my head. I can like, I'm going to get up here, get the necklace. I'm going to write this speech that's going to like win me all the jury votes in the end. Like, yeah. How did it feel?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much sort of like you said, like I'd sort of like, I never really thought it was actually going to happen. I was like, oh, I'm like doing okay so far, but I was always like, I'm definitely like, it's definitely going to be the rug's going to be pulled out from under me. Like at some point, even as I was getting close to the end, I was like, I'm in the final 6, but like, I'm probably just going to fall just short, but I really just wanted to get to the end and have a shot. So as I kept getting closer, I was like, maybe this is still a possibility as I'm like at the final 4, like, okay, but I'm still probably just going to fall just short, So as I was running up, I was like, okay, this might actually, for the first time, I might actually think it's a real chance that I actually make it to the final 3. And then, I was sort of right, because I was like, I know I'm going to get just this close and then it's going to be taken away from me, which is sort of happened. But, I guess I was expecting it.
So close. So close. So talk me through your strategy. Well, I guess like, because I know you talked a little bit about like, hey, I'm going to get to the end and I just have this great speech that I'm going to tell, and it's going to convince the people to vote for me. Like, what were you going to say? Like, what was going to be your pitch to why you should win the game?
I mean, I was going to say a few things. One of them centered around the fact that, like I was a returning player and, coming in on day 1 with my season airing, nobody probably really thought it was possible that I was going to make it to the end. And, I had this huge target on my back. So I was going to say, like, I came in and I couldn't play the game that I wanted to play. I would have liked to have been a little more out in front, and trying to build up my, like my threat level instead of trying to bring my threat level down, so I sort of felt like I had to play that sort of game. So I was going to say that, I didn't realize exactly at the time how left out of things I was. So I thought I had a better chance because I didn't realize how left out of things I was. So I was going to say, oh, I wasn't really that out of the loop when, I was, and they probably would have called me on it at Final Tribal. But, I was going to say, I didn't try to steer any votes specifically, but what I tried to do was, never give people a reason to vote me out. Because at the beginning of the game, they had a million reasons to vote me out as a big threat or returning player. But I was like, as the game goes on, I just, want to be somebody that people are like, oh, Matthew, like, we don't need to get rid of Matthew, for whatever reason. It's because, I trust him, I don't need to get rid of him, or he's, not a threat, I don't need to get rid of him, or he's not really doing anything, so I don't need to get rid of him. Just giving people a reason not to get rid of me. And then I probably would have pulled some sort of like, emotional, like this would mean so much to me, and, just try to pull at their heartstrings and make them feel bad about not voting for me. I don't really think it would have worked, but I definitely would have put a lot of time and watched a lot of prior tribal councils and, figure it out. Because I think a lot of things too, you have to listen to the jurors' questions and then figure out what they want you to say, and definitely be very complimentary to the jury. Be like, yeah, I didn't play a good game as Dale or Jackson, but I'm here. So like, yeah, maybe you wish you could vote for Dale, but you can't. So
yeah, I remember you mentioning in one of the other interviews you did how you were going to like watch like every single Final Tribal Council and like take notes and like exactly what to say, what not to say, and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I think there are times when, you do have to be humble and, say like, yeah, I didn't play a perfect game. Like nobody here did. Like these are my mistakes. But there are also times when you have to fight back if somebody's really going in on you. Be like, you know what? No, I wasn't as passive as you thought because of X, Y, and Z. So finding that balance between, being humble and, accepting the things that I think are true, and maybe being a little self-deprecating, but also standing up for myself when I feel like something they're saying is wrong, and then, trying to prove myself there. So it would have been, back and forth. Like, do I think I could have won with that speech? Probably not. The damage was probably already done, but could I have, put forth a good showing? I think so.
Yeah. I would have been really interested to see what would have happened if, let's say you did get that puzzle before Cat and got to the final 3. And let's say you win that challenge. Like, what would have happened next?
Yeah, so that's actually pretty interesting because I'm 95% sure I vote for Dale. Like, I want to say I was 100% sure. Like, obviously, he's the biggest threat, and I knew that in the game. But I also reckon like Dale is Dale, and I'm not trying to lie and say 100% I would have got rid of him. Like, Dale would have came to me with a good pitch, and I would have considered it. Like, yes, would I 100% have voted him out? Close to. Like, I knew he was the biggest threat, but could Dale have somehow pulled at my heartstrings? Sort of the same way he did with Shannon. Maybe, not super likely, but most likely I vote Dale, and Kat does as well because she's not voting for Shannon. And then it really comes down to, Dale could do multiple. Like, I'm probably going to tell Dale when I talk to him, like, yeah, okay, I'll vote out Kat with you. Or maybe I'll tell him I'll vote out Shannon, I'll probably tell him I'm voting for Shannon because it doesn't make sense to vote out Kat if I have immunity at that point. So I tell him, like, yeah, you're good. Don't worry. I'll vote out Shannon. And then I'm telling Shannon, like, let's vote for Dale. And then the question is, in this, what actually happened, it's, me and Dale were trying to figure out who was doing actually what. So in this case, it would have been Shannon and Dale that were trying to figure out, Shannon will be telling me she's voting for Dale. Dale would be telling me he's voting for Shannon. They're telling each other that they're voting for Kat. So would it come down to, does Shannon actually vote for Kat, or does Dale convince her, does Dale convince her to vote for Kat, or does she, vote for Dale? And then does Dale trust me that I'm voting for Shannon, or does he trust Shannon that she's voting for Kat? So, honestly, where do Dale and Shannon's votes go? I'm honestly not sure if I win, but, it could end up in a scenario where it's a tiebreaker between Dale and Kat, or it could end up in a scenario where Dale goes home 3-1. So
that's interesting. I also wonder if there's if there would ever be a scenario where Dale and Shannon try to get Kat to quit the game or throw her vote on purpose, the whole Shannon has to win. Shannon might make some emotional pitch to Kat, you know what, you want me to win, then we know Matthew's voting for Dale, you vote for me, and me and Dale will vote for you, and it'll guarantee that I wonder if there's so many ways it could have gone. I could have seen that a scenario where Shannon just will not vote off Dale, so decides to let Dale have a tiebreaker, or maybe Dale just goes home, and you actually you'd have you would be going into Final Tribal Council with more momentum too, having just won the Final Four immunity. But I guess I'm wondering, going into the finale, what kind of sequence of events do you think would have had to happen for you to win the game?
Going into the finale, I think the only way is if somehow, in that scenario where I was talking, where I win the final immunity challenge, if Shannon does end up voting for Dale, and Dale convinces Shannon Shannon ends up voting for Kat, and then at the end I could say I was the one that voted for Dale. Again, in this case scenario, it would have to be me convincing Dale that I'm voting for Shannon, so Dale would vote for Shannon, but then Shannon voting for Kat instead of Dale, and then so basically Dale goes home in a 2-1, and then at Final Tribal I say, hey, I was the one that took out Dale, and Shannon, she voted for Kat, clearly she didn't understand that Dale was the biggest threat, and kind of claim voting out Dale as my move over Shannon's. And
but then, in this scenario, you need Kat to vote for Dale, right?
I think she does. She's not voting for Shannon, so unless she tries to self-vote. But
all right, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Because then at the end, and maybe if I win immunity at that Final Four Tribal, I say to the jury, Dale has been the biggest threat all game. He's played the best game, and I've sort of been his sidekick. But this is what I had to do. I came in the clutch, and I want, so really using the Final Four Tribal as sort of the beginning of my final Tribal Council speech to sort of say this is what I just did. I just took out Dale, and when it mattered, I came through in the clutch and I got rid of him. So
I think best scenario for you is if you could have gotten Shannon and Dale out the last 2 votes. Somehow, and then
gone with Nate. Yeah.
I think you versus Nate is actually kind of interesting, because I think it really depends on who's winning those challenge, or who could portray it as their moves more.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing though is getting out Shannon at 5, because yes, I can make a pitch to Dale that Shannon's not taking him to the end, and I think sort of in the moment I didn't think it was going to work, so I didn't really try it. But I think maybe if I could go back, I would have at least tried a little bit harder. But I was also very cautious that week because I wanted Dale's idol, so I didn't want to upset him too much or try to seem like I was going rogue, because then he's not going to give me his idol, and I needed that idol to stay that week. So maybe if I go back and do it again, I try to say Dale hey, Shannon is not going to take you to the end. Maybe I make up some lie and be yeah, Shannon told me she's going with Kat and me because she thinks she can beat us. So maybe I swing Dale, but then we still need Nate, and I'm still not sure, even if we come to Nate an hour before travel and we're hey, Dale and I are voting Shannon, you should vote Shannon,
I feel like he'll vote anyone if it's not him.
He probably would, yeah. If we gave him something that seemed like a legit plan, but I would have had to get Dale on board with voting out Shannon, his number one ally, at that point. So I would have had to do a good job of convincing Dale that Shannon's not taking him to the end.
Which it did seem like there's a part where Dale was considering voting off Shannon at the Final 5, where he was saying it would technically be the best move for me to do that, because Kat, he's who's Kat go to? Cat goes to me.
Mhm.
I become the new Shannon, you know. I have a 2 out of 4 chance instead of a 1 out of 4 chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pitch would have made sense to him, the question, but also at that point, like, he realized like he was in a pretty good spot, so he kind of wanted to like have it all, like all his allies there at the final 4, and I mean, it almost bit him in the ass. Like if Shannon would have voted him out, it would have bit him in the ass, and you know he should have gotten rid of her at 5. But you know he made the right play, knowing that Shannon probably wouldn't vote him out. You know, it was a gutsy call, but you know he made the right one. So
honestly, I was like, I mean, in the moment, I remember thinking like, it seemed like it was much more of a done deal that you were going to go home at that vote. But I'm surprised how much Dale struggled to make the decision between you and Shannon. And honestly, like a little bit surprised that he didn't vote for Shannon just to like have some added security. That like at that point, like it's either that's like a ballsy. That was another ballsy move that like I was surprised he didn't vote for Shannon at the final 4, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
what's the harm if he does, you know, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think it goes to a tie, but he knew you know, his worst case scenario was him getting voted out. So he doesn't care if it's a tie between like Shannon and me. You know, he thinks he can probably beat us both. You know, I think I tried like right before Tribal, like, you know, Shannon tells me like she's voting for me. So then I tried to tell Dale real quick, like literally as we're walking in, I was like, yeah, Shannon said she might be voting me, but I don't really know. She might be voting you too. Like I wanted to make him think that Shannon's vote was up in the air, but I think he trusted like that conversation they had right before Tribal where she like they had a very emotional heart to heart, and he's like Shannon should vote me out, but I just had this conversation with her, and like in his heart of hearts he didn't think that she was going to go against her word and vote for him, so that's why, you know, he voted for me.
Did you consider I can see why you didn't do this on the off chance that Dale still votes for Shannon, but did you consider like blowing things up during Tribal at all? And like I feel like you could have said this wouldn't have worked probably, but I wondered like could you have said to Shannon like you could have like looked at the jury and been like, Shannon is about to not vote out Dale, and been like, look, Shannon, look at like these people's faces or something like that. You know, I don't know. That probably wouldn't have worked, but I feel like you could have tried something.
I think I said sort of. I didn't like go like over the top, and I'd sort of like made my pitch to her like literally like 10 minutes before. Yeah. So yeah, I probably could have done it in front of the jury too. But I thought at that point it was easier to convince Dale to at least send me to a tiebreaker than it would have been to convince Shannon and Kat to vote out Dale. So I was trying to say like, oh yeah, this vote's so up in the air, like I might be going, but also like, you know, they're big threats we need to hear. So I was just, you know, sort of hoping, and also if I do that, then I sort of confirms to Dale that Matthew's nervous. So that means, you know, Shannon's probably voting for him. So I tried to make it seem a little ambiguous just in case Dale was going to toss a vote on Shannon. I could get to a tiebreaker, but you know, didn't.
Some credit I will give you is that up until I was like editing the finale, I feel like the lore around the final 4 has at least had always been portrayed to me somehow that you got like completely suckered by Dale, and that Dale like tricked you into voting for Shannon, and like Dale was like even such a genius that he got like 0 votes at final 4 and stuff. When in reality, it seems like you were gonna vote for Dale if Shannon, like you had to vote for Shannon at that point.
Yeah, I mean the only one Dale really like put in, the only like person that Dale really like I guess got at Trevor was like Shannon. Like I was like Kat was just gonna vote where Shannon was. So that's, you know, a couple that like all he needed to do was focus on Shannon, which he did, and it worked. You know, and I mean my vote was gonna go where I thought other votes were going. And at that point, you know, when Shannon tells me she's not voting for Dale, like I can't vote for Dale because no votes are going towards Dale. So I think votes might be going on Shannon if Dale is voting for Shannon. So I have to throw my vote there and hope, you know, I put my vote where somebody else's is. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he did a good job getting no votes, but really you know, all he had to do that was to get Shannon. And then, you know, once he gets Shannon, he gets Kat. And once I know that Shannon and Kat are not voting, then, you know, I'm not voting Dale. So
I just think the mythology of it definitely in the community was like, oh, Matthew wasn't even smart enough to like vote for Dale at the final 4. I mean, obviously, like it was just not the case.
Yeah.
In reality.
If she tells me like I'm voting Dale, then I vote Dale too. If she tells me I don't know what I'm doing, then I have to make a gut call, and I probably just, you know, chance it and vote for Dale. But as soon as she tells me she's voting me, like my vote is, you know, it has to go where I think Dale's is going. So
you had no other. That was like the only correct.
And I knew it would have been like a losing move. Like once I hear votes are going on Dale, like okay, Dale's coming to the end. Like I'm probably screwed. But if I vote for Shannon and Dale does too, maybe I can squeeze out second place. You know.
And honestly, that's why I'm thinking that it actually would have been in Dale's best interest to vote for Shannon, even though like obviously 100%. He was right. So like you can't say that what he did actually was the correct thing. But like if you're thinking logically, it logically makes sense for him to have voted for Shannon because, like, you know, in the off chance that if Shannon had like voted for Dale and Kat had voted for Dale,
he would have voted.
Then like him voting for you would have been thought of as like the stupidest move in history. If he gets voted off 2-1 when he could have tied it, you know, and just didn't because
there's only inches between a madman and a genius, right?
Yeah, he really rode that line. If he would have
gone home,
final seven, like he did that a couple of times. That
he made some risky gut calls and they were all right. So
voting out Eliza, arguably as well.
And that's another thing too that I don't know if it was like included in the final in like what we saw in Final Tribal, but throughout the whole game, like everybody had sort of said that was Jackson's move that he roped Dale in on like the day of. But Dale was like at Final Tribal, he's telling us like, no, like Jackson and I, more so me, like this is Dale saying like more so me, came up with that a few days before and said Eliza has to go. And then I talked about it with Jackson. I got him to buy in. And then he's also like, and I got Jackson to take the blame for it. I was like, how did you get Jackson to take the blame for it? Like, that was brilliant. Like, you know, more credit to you.
I don't know how he did that. You guys are all just like, oh, I guess it was just Jackson.
I mean, like I gave Dale, like I knew Dale was a part of it. Like nobody forgot about it. But when we're thinking like, oh, who was the mastermind behind that move? We thought it was Jackson. I think Jackson like selfishly wanted some of the credit, but that was sort of a bad thing because it made, you know, me and Shannon put him a little higher on our hit list. And, you know, if he had been going around saying like, actually, that was more so Dale, then, you know, we're a little more suspect to Dale. But, you know, I mean, Jackson's not going to try to throw Dale under the bus quite like that. So
I think it was interesting that you and Shannon actually had a lot of the same goals throughout the merge, but you were never on the same page. Like, you guys both wanted to kind of work with Jack sort of, but couldn't do anything about it. You guys both wanted Jackson out, but never really were able to get on the same page about it until like Dale really just makes you get on the same page about it. I thought it was interesting. And I feel like you both, for stretches, also thought you wanted to take out Dale near the end as well.
Yeah, I think so. But it was also a thing, too, where, like, she didn't trust me enough to, like, tell me her plans. And, like, I sort of hinted at maybe, like, that I wanted to take out Jackson, but I never did enough to gain her trust to where, you know, she would have come to me and been like, hey, like, you know, I want to do this, too. And maybe if I do, like, a little better job of, you know, like, connecting with Shannon and not so much talking game, you know, then she feels more comfortable to me, like coming to me with a plan, you know, the week that Dale's supposed to go home, or maybe, you know, Shannon and I come up with a plan to get rid of Jackson instead of, you know, Dale coming up with it. But, you know, she wanted to do that stuff, but like, she didn't really want to tell Dale that, you know, she wanted to like get rid of him or get rid of Jackson so soon. And like, you know, Kat's not somebody that you could like bounce strategic ideas off of. But if she had felt better about me, then, you know, we could have done something together, but, you know, we just never, I sort of messed that relationship up, you know, almost from the beginning. So. And that was an oversight too. Like I always thought, like I knew Shannon wasn't 100% with me, but I was always like, if I need to pull a move, I could probably get Shannon. Like, you know, our relationship is good enough to where, you know, we could pull something off if we needed to. But
yeah. I guess like I'm wondering, and I know that like a lot of people kind of gave you some crap about your strategy in the merge and kind of like, oh, well, you know, why doesn't Matthew do something? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it's necessarily warranted. At least not all of it. Maybe some of it. I don't know. How much of it do you think was warranted? Like, what was your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like, I think once I hit the merge, I knew I had just sort of come to the realization that I was in a, you know, pretty bad spot because, you know, it just come out that I'm talking to Jack and Eliza had just been blindsided. So I know I'm not in a position of control. You know, I look at where things are at the merge and like, I'm not controlling anybody's vote, you know, like I'm sort of reliant on other people kind of trying to do what I want. And I'm like, maybe I could get Shannon and Ivy to sort of do what I want and flip with Jack. But also I know that week at the merge, like I sort of heard my name come up there. Like it was just sort of like a decoy name that I think like Ivy had told Megan just to like keep her happy. But, you know, as soon as I heard my name, I'm like, okay, this is officially like the run on returnees. Like it was Ben, it was Eliza, like now they're coming after me and Jack. Cause I knew Jack was a target that week. So I thought, you know, I might be the other target. So I was like, if I try to push too hard, you know, they're just going to say, oh, well, we'll just do Jack next. Let's just do Matthew now. So, you know, I was more so in a self-preservation mode that first week, which is why I was okay with Jack going. And I also think, you know, Jack would have cut me when he had the chance. Like, you know, Jack was like me, you know, he's in it for himself and, you know, he's not going to string me along. And if he hears it's going to be me, he's going to be like, you know, okay, anybody but me, you know? So, and I also was associated with Jack as like, you know, oh, Matthew and Jack, like, maybe Matthew's got Jack in his back pocket. So I didn't want that target on my back. So I was okay with Jack going because I thought it was self-preservation. But
let me ask you this. So I listened to your interview with the Survivor Analyst podcast, and you had a take which I actually could not disagree with more. And I'm curious what you think. Basically, you said that in terms of the returnee relationship, you think that the way you really misplayed it was by like basically having a relationship with them at all. Like you were saying, we should have just not talked at all. None of us should have talked, and then it wouldn't have been able to come out that we were like engaged in this shenanigans because it wouldn't have been happening. I can't disagree with that more. So my take on this is that you guys should have seized control and never let go of it. Because I feel like people would have thought you were talking, even like if once you know all these returnees, I feel like a lot of people would just assume you were talking. And my question to you is, at the swap, did you guys ever consider doing something like, did you ever consider trying to get like you, Eliza, and Jack on like one tribe and just run that tribe? And now the three of you were just good till the merge.
I think we thought about it, but Eliza and I both, we didn't want to have to make the Jack versus Tokidoki choice so soon. Like we were both trying to play the middle, and like there were other smart players in the game. So, like this wasn't a redemption island where like everybody's just going to defer to the returning players. Like I knew like Dale, Jackson, like they're not the type that are just going to defer. Like they're going to come after us, And once Ben went home, it was sort of like, okay, the returnees are vulnerable, and like I never had 100% trust in Jack, but we were trying to do it. But yeah, I think maybe talking to them wasn't the worst thing. Maybe, like I said, like lying about it and saying, oh, I'm not talking to Jack. Like A, I was, and B, people probably just assumed I was. So I should have just been like, yeah, like, we just like, we're going to talk, like we know each other or something like that. But I think the reason, like I said, Elise and I didn't try to get Jack on our swap tribe was like, we were going to plan on throwing that challenge because it would have been the 4 Tokidoki to El Norte. And, if Jack comes over with Camilla, Elise and I have to choose, and it's like in front of the whole game. Like if we get rid of Dale or Jackson, all Tokidoki is like, okay, they're with Jack. If we get rid of Camilla, then Jack's a little pissed at us. So we're like, all right, we will work with you, but not yet. The safest, like, we want to be in a position to help you at merge,
I guess I see it as basically all of you guys except for Jack picked like the cautious choice at every, like you, Elise, and Ben all played the game very cautiously. And I feel like with hindsight, with even though everything you're saying makes sense, but then Eliza gets blindsided, so it's all kind of for naught, like would it have been better to just get there with the three of you, and then if you need to throw them under the bus, then now you have these two giant shields in Eliza and Jack,
Yeah, I think so, especially because I do feel like Dale and Jackson were, two of the players that weren't going to stand for like returnees running the game. But if we get on a tribe with, Eliza and I with Jack and Camilla, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to tie myself down to the returnees. Like I wanted options, but knowing, I guess if I had realized that Dale and Jackson were the only two that might have been standing in the way of, me and Elise and Jack running the game, maybe we get rid of Dale and Jackson, like we throw the challenges again. Dale's idol probably screws up our plans, but, maybe we could have blindsided him at that first one or something. And then, then we get to the merge and, Elise is able to get Shannon back with her, and, Jack has Megan, and then it's like, who's really coming after us? Like, are Ivy and Nate going to form a coalition to come after us? No, like we're probably going to go after each other, but there's nobody like Dale or Jackson that are siphoning votes away from us. So, maybe if we do, I probably don't get fourth, but I probably have more control over the game around the merge if, we bring Jack into our tribe and, me, Eliza, Jack, and Camilla work together to get rid of Dale and Jackson,
It's like a higher risk, high reward, right? Like there's a decent chance Eliza or Jack wins the game in that scenario, but probably also a decent chance that you would have been fine as well. Maybe if Eliza has like her own little army and Jack has his own little army, it's easy to see a world where you kind of pit them against each other. And
I probably would have had to like pick up my own number and like, maybe I like get
maybe that's Ivy. Maybe that's Ivy and Nate for you because they're not going to Jack. That's for sure.
And Eliza's decent with Ivy, but she's not like super tight. And if I'm able to like identify that as a possible group that I can get myself in with, so that I have numbers as well, and I'm not just relying on what Jack or Eliza want to do any given week. So yeah, would have been a lot different. Again, we Dale might play his idol, but maybe we get rid of Jackson and then throw a challenge and then get rid of Dale. But it would have been interesting. But I saw it as those two were shields, and I wanted options at the merge. I probably should have just said, okay, maybe let me take the one where I have more control at merge, possibly. But yeah, would have been fun, but. Yeah, but like I said, like at merge, I just felt very cornered. Like nobody was really coming to me like that. I felt like I had a ton of trust in, and Dale did a really good job right after the Eliza vote of saying like, hey, like I only did this because like you guys were talking to Jack, and so he sort of made me less upset with him. which made me more okay with voting with Tokidoki at the merge. And like there was no El Norte to go to. It was, it was Jack and Megan and Nate sort of off by himself. So it wasn't like there was a strong coalition to go to. So I was just like, all right, this is going to keep me safe. I'll set myself up for a later move, which, didn't really happen because I was like, oh, maybe like 7, 6, 5, I can get rid of Dale or something like that. But then, like I'm left out of the plan at 7 and Dale's idol is 6 and 5. And, I think at some point I'm going to be able to have some people that trust me, but I really don't end up with anybody that I can really go to try to pull a move. Because like nobody, even like at 6, 5, like whatever, like anybody I'm telling about a move, like they're probably going to tell somebody else about it. Like, Dale's going to tell Shannon, Shannon's going to tell Dale, like Nate's going to tell somebody, like Nate doesn't trust me that much, but I didn't really have anybody in my back pocket that I could have used. So, but
what else? Was there anything, Matthew? Was there any big like confessionals or anything you were sad was left out of the show, like a favorite confessional or something like didn't make it in? Because I'm doing I'm gonna do like a deleted scenes for season 4. So I've been asking people, like, if you have like a favorite confessional or something like that didn't get into the show, like text me what it is. I'll try and get it in there.
I think maybe this didn't make sense in the edit, but I sort of explained it on a different one. But the week that Camilla went home, I was trying to play Camilla and Katie off each other and tell both of them like, yeah, I'm gonna flip to help you, but like both of them started to know about it, and so like we have this call like an hour before tribal where both of them know that I'm lying, but they don't know that the other knows that I'm lying. So I say to them like, okay, this is it. Like we're flipping on Dale, and I play it really well. And they're like, okay, we're going to do this. And I was like, yeah, next week, like the 3 of us, we got to be super strong. Like it's totally like bullshit. And they both know it's bullshit. They just don't know the other knows it's bullshit. But it does like, it is some of those things that, you watch and you're like, what? And then you're like, oh, okay, that was just totally all a ruse. So that was pretty fun. And it makes it look like I was thinking about turning on Dale earlier. So that gives me more credit. So I mean, could have actually done it that week, but it would have upped my threat level. But I mean, I might have been able to survive, and I think we could have. Yeah,
we thought about trying to edit it where it might look like Unilys are actually going to work with Camille and Katie, but it was too confusing. There was just way too much already going on, like with the swaps and with like the flow of information between like Megan and Jackson and like Ivy and then back to you guys, and the way it was all around was already so convoluted that we were like, I don't know if we have time to do this.
And also like that, I maybe would have thought about that slightly more if Camilla and Katie were tight with each other, but they weren't, so they weren't really going to vote together.
Right, that's part of the issue is that they don't even have any real. It's hard for the audience to, I think, even buy that they were going to vote together.
Yeah, because they're thinking like it's a split vote. I have to vote for Camilla.
Yeah, their whole thing was just throwing the other one under the bus as hard as possible.
Yeah, exactly. But if it's like if it's 2 people that are tighter, like if it's Camilla and Megan or something, like people who are probably going to vote together, like I consider that move a lot more, But I also don't want to put myself on the island as the one Tokidoki that's flipping, But maybe just an all chaos game where I just somehow stay ahead of each vote by just causing chaos would work. But I don't think I totally necessarily thrive in the chaos. I would have liked to try it, but I was a little bit nervous that I wasn't going to be able to thrive in the chaos. So.
It's a dangerous game to play.
It is.
I do think that the slow burn game, like there's a lot of benefits to it. And like, I mean, last season 3 is a great example of like that working out. But I think that it's really tough if you don't have the information. Like the idols and advantages really mess things up with Jax having the vote steal and Dale having both idols made it much harder to play the kind of game where you kind of knock out, the big threat 6-5-4 because all of a sudden the big threats like all had immunity essentially, especially Dale. Dale having 2 idols at final 6
definitely
made it very hard.
If we all knew that he had 2 idols, like we're coming after him at 8. But I mean, he did such a good job of of never saying that, which is smart because obviously if you tell people that, they're going to try to move up the timeline. And that's sort of what Jack thought in season 2 was the timeline of when to get rid of him got accelerated to 8 because people knew that he had 2 idols, Sam. So but he did a good job of holding on to that. And like we all thought, because I don't know if this was shown, but like I think week 3, El Norte got to give out an idol clue because they won the challenge and they gave it to Shannon.
Oh yeah, this got cut out. But
but it's sort of that was what I had. I don't know if anybody else thought this. Some people might have, but I remember like El Norte was going to give up the clue.
No, Jackson thought it too. Jackson thought so as well.
Yeah, because we go through the whole game thinking Shannon probably has it because she got the clue. And we remember like, I remember Jack told me like she's going to get the clue. And then an hour later she texted us that she got it. So I'm like, okay, Shannon went to go find the clue. And Jackson and I both went there when she texted it and we saw footprints. So we're like, Shannon was here. And we're also like, Shannon's never really been in danger. So it never would have come out. You know, she's telling us she doesn't have it, but, you know, everybody else is too. So I think Jackson and I both were pretty confident that Shannon had the Tokidoki one. At some point, we both thought the El Norte one was gone. And then I was still sort of confused about the merge idol. Like, I wish I would have gotten that one. Like, we were pretty close that night. We were all searching. Like, I don't know how nobody got that, but, you know.
Something else you were saying about the low key game in comparison to like people from Dylan or Devin or like maybe even like Mallory or something like that. I feel like your perception Survivor, once it's like established, it doesn't change except maybe once, you know? So like if you're like Dylan or somebody, you can maybe go from seeming like you're not doing that much to doing some stuff. Versus like with you, I feel like the issue is that like if you come in as this big threat,
people think you're going to do stuff.
You can never convince people that you're playing it if you try to play an under the radar game, then people just think you're playing a bad game. You know, like you could do the exact same stuff as like somebody who's being perceived as playing a good under the radar game. And for you, it's perceived as he's not doing anything because you're expected to be doing stuff. It's just like a perception thing. I feel like that you could run into with that basically.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely true. And, you know, like my season 1 edit definitely didn't help. Like as soon as I did something sketchy, like lied about talking to Jack, like it just sort of confirmed like, oh yeah, Matthew's not trustworthy. Like clearly he's scheming, you know, on the regular. And like, but I don't know what my better course would have been, like just lean into it and just scheme a bunch because that's what people already think I'm doing, or just be like, hey, I'm totally like hands up, like you guys are going to know everything that I'm doing. Like I'm not scheming as much as I say that.
Which is also weird though, because even on season 1, it's not like you're like the king of schemes though. Like
my
you're saying it in
the
confessionals is kind of a schemy guy, but your actual gameplay I feel like is very traditional. You know, I'll stick with my people. I don't think you really were, at least in season 1, to just suddenly blindside people for like no reason, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely not. But I think it like sort of set up like I would have been somebody that would do that, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, somebody that was like very into the game. So I think like when they see like, oh, Matthew's so into the game, like clearly he's got a bunch of alliances and he's scheming behind the scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, and I think also too, like my season 1 game somewhat like I like, not that I've like made any like crucial mistakes or anything like that, but I did have a lot of FOMO, the fact that like I didn't make the merge, you know, and like I would sort of just, you know, there might have been weeks where I could have made a riskier move, but I'm like, well, I just also kind of want to be there next week, you know, and like give the challenge a shot and see what happens next week, you know. So I just sort of wanted to be a part of it as long as I could, and, you know, just keep my opportunities open and be like, well, you know, maybe this isn't great for my game this week, but if it gets me to next week, I can try something next week, you know, just like focusing on getting there. Yeah.
Is it possible that you loved playing the game so much that it like blinded you at times to like making the right move? Because it's like that's like your whole thing. You just like love playing Survivor so much that it's like, if the choice is just to keep me playing the game, that seems like a good choice in the moment, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, and also because like it was such a long game, so I also didn't want to like, you know, like in a weekend game, it's like, oh, if I get 7th, I'm like, you know, 3 hours and then the game's over. You know, it's like if I get 7th, it's like, oh, 3 more weeks of the game going on and I'm thinking about, you know, what I did wrong and stuff like that. But yeah, I also just like playing and I wanted to like be at that final challenge and, you know, be at final tribal and stuff like that. So, you know, maybe there were some opportunities where I could have taken a bigger risk, but I was like, you know what, it's still probably going to get voted out. And, you know, if I just lay low this week, it'll get me one more spot further, you know, which I saw as a good thing. And I thought, you know, okay, one more spot further, that's going to increase my chances of winning. But really, you know, every one spot further that I got without doing much work was, you know, decreasing my chances of winning, I guess. But
it beat the producers' expectations from the draft every single time. Yeah. So, you know, there you go.
I was.
I mean, as if honestly, it is quite a feat to say that you were someone that came in as returning. I think we talked about this a bunch of times in the podcast.
Were you really drafted last?
I think so.
Apparently, last or second to last or something. I think all the returnees except for Lisa, we were kind of like, pick. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Aaron Murphy was who picked Aaron Murphy first? Who did that?
It was like Richard.
Was it?
It's a horrible pick.
Yeah.
So
didn't she? Yeah. I thought she knew somebody, and that's why they picked her. But
no,
I don't know. But I also, like, as I got further in the game too, I was like, I must be doing something right. You know, I was like, okay, I'm still here. Like, I've surpassed my expectations. Like, I survived 4 or 5 travels. Like, I'm doing something right. So maybe I don't really need to change so much of my game when, you know, again, I probably should have been like, okay, like it's got me this far, but the next step is, okay, I made it like a decent amount far. I made the merge. Like now, like,
I also think that some of the other people, I think that Jackson and Shannon deserve some blame for how little you knew what was going on, because I don't understand why they had no incentive to be letting Dale be like the only one who was like letting you in the know, basically.
Yeah, I think
like,
it would have been.
It doesn't make any sense for them why they were doing that.
Yeah, I think I know, like I understand for like they were worried that I was going to go to Dale, right? But even if they give me all this information, they're also not sure like maybe Dale's actually telling Matthew all this information, and maybe I'm telling Matthew stuff he already knew. But it would have been like I think it could have worked if they had a move lined up that they could have told me about right before. But also like sort of being left out of the stuff, but also like at 7, like they have the numbers to do it without me, so they don't really need to tell me. Like at 6, like if Jackson had wanted Dale out, he could have come to me a little before tribal, and we could have made it happen if he spills all this information. But that's not what he wanted. He wanted Shannon gone, because Dale came out so perfectly after Final 8 because he, like, I thought like going into that week, like I'm close with Dale.
But that's
also,
why I don't think they should not have let that go down the way it did. After that,
because it basically let Dale, like he already had a lot of my trust, but I also felt good with Ivy and Shannon. Well, then Dale's the only one that comes to me and says your name is out there. Like all of a sudden, like Shannon and Ivy go way down and Dale goes way up, because I'm like, he's the only one that told me I was in danger, when in reality, he was just sort of, the one that got you that. But also,
so
I mean,
you can't really be blamed for that one, honestly.
Yeah.
I think most people would have thought the same thing probably in that situation.
It sort of didn't quite make sense afterwards. I was like, wait, like Dale said my name was out there, but nobody voted for me. So like what was the actual story? I was never able to really piece it together. But I think I could have been like, something was a little off that week. Like, maybe I should not take Dale at his word as to what he said happened, but at that point I was just like, what, I survived. So like, I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I was freaking out. Like when Dale came to me, like I definitely got a weird feeling that week. It was a short week, and I had wanted Jackson gone, like if he didn't win immunity. So once he wins immunity, I'm like, I had told Dale, Shannon, and Ivy that I wanted Jackson gone. I'm like, over the course of this week, somebody's going to tell him that I wanted him gone that week, and he's going to try to get rid of me. Like he's got immunity. This is the week for him to do it. So I was super concerned that whole week. And, I was still kind of trying to pick myself up from like the rogue Megan vote. So, I knew something was going to go down, and then, I get off work and Dale, travels in like, 2 hours, and Dale's like, hey, we got to meet in person. I was like, I knew this was going to happen. So, then he tells me like, you might be in trouble. I'm like, what can we do? Like running through all these scenarios. And he's like, I don't know, man, what can we do? So, yeah.
Man. One thing I want to say is like, look, I think one of the things we talked about is how for all 4 returnees, you guys did have such a you're in such a hard spot. You're starting off with a massive target on your back. And of all 4 returnees, you are the one that had your season airing. So you started off with the biggest target of anybody in the entire game. Like starting off the game with the target on your back is kind of like I feel like it just automatically puts you in a very tough position. Like
I felt like
you can only play a certain way. It's like if you're starting off like fresh, like people don't know who you are. You can kind of like ease into a certain type of find your style. If you're like coming in as a returnee and your season is airing and you already have this like threat of being a super fan and a big character, like it's just like you were very limited in how you could have played the game. And I think like for all the returnees, I think you had a very small, like slim margin of error for like, and you saw how fast the other 3 of them got voted off. So you were definitely at an uphill battle from the start, and I think that's something that,
I felt like it was sort of like all eyes were on me, and so I was very like, I can't do anything too shady right out the bat, and then as eyes turned to other people, then I should have been like, okay, now's my chance to be a little more shady, like right around the merge when people have like sort of got over the fact that like, oh, I'm a returning player and stuff like that. Maybe that was the time to sort of sneak up on them, but I still kind of felt like, well, me kind of being like hands up, like I'm not doing anything super shady, like I'm not that big a threat, like it got me that far. So I was like, let's just keep, playing up this role and, see if it gets me, to the end where I need to be. So. Fun.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I said, like the other returnees like did, play a good game, but also like things could be totally different if, El Norte doesn't implode, and if Jack and Ben stay on good terms, or if Jack is, like totally truthful with Ben's alliance with Katie, then, if those 2 are on the same page, like, could we actually do some sort of thing where, all of a sudden, me, Eliza, Jack, and Ben, like our numbers combined are more than like Dale and Jackson and whatever, whoever's loyal to them, so. like I wasn't super keen to like work with Ben and like be in an all returnee alliance, but you know, it could have been more so the returnees steering the game at Merge than Dale and Jackson and Shannon though.
It was very tough that the returnees had such a low level of like trust in each other, which I think also, I guess, at the same time, kind of even the playing field, because if all 4 of you really trusted each other, it would have been a little bit unfair for the other 12, I guess.
Yeah,
but like,
also, yeah,
if you guys were like, you know, locked in Final Four from like, you know, day -10, like we're gonna run this game, share all the information, and you guys said that, but then like, you know, nobody really trusted anybody else.
Yeah, and I really wanted to like blend in with the newbies and be like, oh, it's not returnee strong. Like I'm one of you guys. Like I want Ben gone just as much as you do. You know, so I definitely kind of wanted to blend in with them. You know, which I think worked, but it also got rid of people that I could have worked with. You know, so. But yeah, it was tough going for the returnees. You know, not impossible. Like under slightly different circumstances. Like if Katie wins that puzzle, then you know it's a totally different game, and you know it's possible a returnee like Elise or Jack win the game. You know, so like we did have a shot. I'm not saying the returnees didn't have a shot at all, but you know, once a few things went wrong, and the rest of everybody was like, oh, like these returnees are actually vulnerable. You know, we'd thought they were these, you know, invincible players who, you know more than us. Like, wait a second, we just blindsided Ben and Eliza. Like, we know what we're doing. Like the returnees, like we don't need these returnees. Like they're not as good as we thought. We're better than them, and you know. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess we're running low on time here, but I mean, I guess I'm curious. Like, what's your biggest regret, and then what's your favorite memory or moment from the game? So, your favorite and least favorite, I guess.
I think my favorite was winning, even though I didn't do that much to win, but like winning immunity was pretty cool. Especially because like it was sort of a fun challenge, and like, you know, we came down to a coin flip, but like I still like, you know, made it that far, and like I got Nate out because we like faked him out with the buzzer, and knowing that like everybody kind of wanted me gone that week was, you know, even though I didn't quite know it at the time, it was nice that I had screwed up some plans. But I would say my biggest regret is, I guess, Final Four, and how I definitely like misplayed sort of like Final Four and, you know, up to Merge, like that I misplayed that relationship with Shannon, and that I kind of thought it was more than it was, but I was definitely, you know, with the relationship with Shannon and with other people, was too focused on, you know, strategy and logic and, you know, just like, you know, cycling through our options instead of like, I tried to like, you know, be social, like try to get to know people, but I just didn't. It was sort of a thing where like I tried at the beginning, and then I just sort of like reverted back to what was easier for me, which was more like strategy and game talk. So losing sight of, you know, what I think I did an okay job early on, you know, like meeting people, and they didn't see me as really a game bot the first couple weeks, but, you know, once we got more into the game and I sort of, you know, lost focus of, oh, remember, you should be, you know, focusing on like the social connection. I just sort of forgot about that and got into what I knew best, which was like strategy talk. And that definitely hurt my reputation and my social connection. So
I'm sure season 1 airing did not help.
Yeah.
That people, they already kind of had like a reputation as being this like really strategic, kind of like, you know, schemy, like game body person.
Yeah.
And people are just automatically going to see that, be like, oh, we can't trust Matthew. Like, what he's doing, like on TV.
Yeah, I think I did a good job like the first couple weeks. Like I don't think anybody really was against me the first couple weeks. I was trying to focus more on like, you know, the emotional aspect and being like, I'm not that much of a game bot. But as the game got on, I definitely slipped back more into game bot mode. So which was like it is like the more natural, like, you know, mode for me. So I need to, you know, keep in mind, you know, just because it's, you know, like I need to keep remembering like it's not just a strategic emotional game bot game. So
yeah,
but
it depends on your cast too. Like I feel like in season 1 that might never have bitten you in the same way. Like that cast was like filled with a lot more game body type people, where like I don't feel like somebody like Mitch or Tarowski or even like Leia, and I feel like a lot of those Cooper. I feel like a lot of those people at that merge are not going to care about that. They're fine with if all you want to do is talk game, you know?
Yeah. But I think that's too, like, you just sort of like, that's what Dale did a good job of. Like, you need to know who you're talking to. And with me, Dale was very strategic, like talking about our options. But with Shannon, Dale was much more like focusing on like the connection and a little bit of strategy talk, but like mirroring, you know, what she wanted to hear. So
I guess like any final thoughts about, you know, Survivor Michigan as a whole? You've been through the whole experience. You've seen both of your seasons air to completion. You've done all the podcasts. Like it's
I mean, it's been so much fun, and getting to play a season, watch a season, produce a season, like seeing them air. It is fun that even though I'm graduated, like I still kind of keep up with what's going on, and we still have All Stars to watch. So it is nice that even though it feels like it started so long ago, like it's still going on and continuously like getting better and getting bigger. So it's not just like a one-time thing. You play and then it's over. Like still get to be involved and produce and watch the seasons and stuff. So definitely grateful that this exists, and I love the trajectory we're on, and excited for so many good things have happened in the past, but also like so much good stuff's ahead. So
well said.
Thank you. But yeah.
I was so glad so glad to see you on a season again, dude. I mean, like, remember as a player in season 2 and you as a producer, like I could tell how excited you were and how much you love Survivor and how you're just like itching to play again. And I think it's, and as much as like you might say like, oh wow, I had no shot of winning, whatever. You got all the way to the Final Four with a target on your back.
I still like accomplished a lot of my goals that I had going back a second time. So
in terms of being on the show, it's not just about winning, right? Like, I feel like you were still one of the more entertaining characters on the show.
Yeah, I was still like, I want to be in as many episodes as possible. Like that wasn't my first goal, but it was a goal. So I accomplished all the way like 90% of my goals except getting to the end and winning. So, but I still checked a lot of them off. So
check them off. You got to have some good finale moments, and that's all.
Days played record for a summer, so that was fun.
Days plays record. Yep.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys.
I think
doing
you currently have the total College Survivor record for games played.
I think it was until As of right now, you do.
Because our games are long. As of what is aired right now.
Yes. So I will wear that title. Yes, I will claim that title proudly. Maybe I'll put it in my Twitter bio or something.
This is a dumb question, but how did Jordan Schubel have more than Victoria?
I think he might have gone further, or maybe his season 1 was really long.
He went to like Final Four or something in his first season, and then she would have been Final Four in her first season. I don't know who like 5th or 6th or something.
I don't know who calculated that, but maybe I'll have to ask them for their stat sheet to kind of compare. So
maybe they're different. Maybe some of their seasons are like shorter than other ones or something.
Yeah, I think they probably were. So they go like maybe 80 days, but yeah.
Stat sheet.
But I'll wear it proud for now. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys doing this, and it's a fun time. So
yeah, wonderful talking with you, Matthew, and I'm sure we'll see you around some more in the future. So
sounds good. All right, I'll see you guys.
All right. Peace out. Kat, what's up?
What's poppin'? Trying to prop you guys.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm up north at my my extended family's cottage. I'm like kind of near Traverse City.
Right on. Nice.
How have you guys been?
It's been great.
Good.
How have the other podcasts gone? How are the other guests?
You just talked with Matthew right before you, so I feel like we got all the strategy talk from Matthew, and then you're going to talk even more strategy because you're an even bigger Survivor Michigan fan than he is.
Yes, you will. The mastery behind my grand plan will finally be unveiled 2 years later. My grand plan is stay on a show that I hated being on for way too long.
Yeah. How's it feel to be? To go ahead again.
I don't know. You go on, Sam.
I was gonna say, how's it feel to be on a podcast about a show and a club that you hated so much? Does it feel great?
Well, I like the both of you fine, so that was fine. You were not members of production that I had beef with. And to be honest, I actually don't even remember who on production I had beef with because I have blocked out most of those memories like very hard. So it feels kind of like, why am I doing this? Although I did get an inkling of the impact that this show makes, Ian, when I spoke to your mother about how she's my biggest fan. And this guy DM'd me on Facebook and then DM'd me again on Instagram and sent me a long-ass, paragraph-ass message about how I got robbed by the jury and everyone was unfair to me. And I was ready to like, sure, go off, dude. Like, I love it. So, like, it feels weird to participate in a piece of like fan media for a fan show that I kind of assumed that didn't have any actual audience, but apparently it does, and apparently they care a lot enough to DM me on Instagram. So that's like a weird realization to have.
I have a question. Do you still post anything on the Squirrel account?
Yeah, I'm the only person that's ever posted on it. I'm not in Ann Arbor right now. I want to post a couple more times before the summer is over. Like, I just don't see that. I'm not like on the diag that much. Like, I really would just feed them on my way to class. I wasn't like going out to feed the squirrels on purpose. Like, I wasn't like going out on weekends with like a ton of peanuts. Like, I just kept a bag in my coat pocket, and on the way to class, I would feed them. So when there was no class, because everything was online, that I didn't really do that because I wasn't walking across the diag as much. And like now during the summer, I'm like not really walking around the diag that much. But I want to post a couple more times, and then I'm gonna give the password to like my grand little, and have her keep running it.
Nice.
The reason I ask is because I assume you wouldn't know this since you obviously didn't watch the terrible show, right?
No, I did not.
Exactly.
I didn't watch a single episode.
Exactly. But in the last episode, we plugged the squirrel account basically because you were like you were saying it like the tribal council or something like, yo, you guys should just follow my squirrel account.
Yeah.
So we put it up on the screen. So I was wondering if there was any new followers. This has been the one good thing that came out of Survivor Michigan.
I got an influx of probably like around 20 people followed it, probably around the time of the finale. I don't know when the finale came out because I wasn't really paying attention, but like probably around that time, about 20 people followed it. So yeah.
Not so incredible. You would see
something good came out of all this.
Exactly.
I'm glad you guys plugged it. I know I plugged it during like every other confessional.
Yeah.
So I'm glad
in one of like in one of your last ones, you were like, if nothing else comes out of this, this is all I want. And I was like, you know what, we could throw her a bone. This seems good.
Thank you, Ian.
See, there's this great clip like during the final immunity challenge where you're doing the amazing race thing, and like you stop to like pet it, to like say hi to a squirrel, like pet a squirrel or something, and
that
just like
right.
You still won anyways. I thought it was hilarious.
I didn't even come up to that puzzle. Like that's one of the things I do remember because it meant Matthew was going home. And so I remember being very excited about that because I knew Shannon didn't like him. And I was like, yeah, fuck this guy. Shannon doesn't like him. Fuck that guy. So I was excited that I won because it meant that the three of us who were going to the final tribal were Dale, me, and Shannon. And I also remember just being proud that I won a challenge and that I was the only person. I had never won like one of the, I don't remember the different kinds of challenges, but like I hadn't won like a solo one before, I don't think. Like my tribe had won challenges, but like I hadn't won one personally. So I was excited to have done that and also to have like solved one of those kinds of puzzles because like those are just fun. That was one of the fun parts, was that puzzle specifically.
Yeah, it's actually funny. One of the fans somewhere said something that like apparently after you won that challenge, you have the record for all the Survivor Michigan players of like who's won the most challenges, like overall, like because of all the tribal ones. Including like all the tribal ones. Yeah.
Well, that's hilarious. That I mean, I'm sure that would have been the case of like any other. Well, no, because I was on the other tribe too, wasn't I? And
you and Shannon would have been the only people who could have done that.
Yeah, basically. I was gonna say, if me or Shannon had won, we would have had that record because it has to have included. Because Tokidoki just fucking steamrolled the competition. We were stacked as fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, they didn't have a chance.
No. And people told me that that's like gonna make it. It was like a kind of a boring season just because it was like apparently that's like a really traditional game or something. Like one tribe just kind of steamrollers the other and like stays like relatively unified throughout the entire game. And that's like a very traditional way to play on like the real show. So people were like, yeah, the show's gonna be boring or the season's gonna be boring because like you guys just didn't do anything exciting at all. I was like, okay, I don't really care.
A lot of people have asked. A lot of people have asked
in the third episode. Fun.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people I know definitely are curious, like why what you thought you were signing up for / like why you signed up basically to begin with.
Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. So I thought it was gonna be. So basically, my really good friend at the time was Elizabeth, who was dating Brady, and definitely like I don't know how much of that you included in the confessionals or whatever. But like so Elizabeth was my roommate sophomore year and she was dating Brady at the time. And Brady was obviously his entire life revolved around this show because the first semester, sophomore year, he played it and then he joined production and he was like best friends with Aaron and Chloe and like his whole damn life revolved around the show basically. And he thought I'd be really good at it. And like Brady and I got along totally fine. Like we didn't have any beef or anything. Like I was like, yeah, like Elizabeth's boyfriend's cool. so like, sure, like tell me about this show, I guess. And he was like, I think you'd be fantastic at it because of like Army ROTC, I guess. I don't really know. Like, look, that didn't help at all. Like, Army ROTC didn't help at all. It's not real Survivor. Being in the Army doesn't help. Like, and being in ROTC certainly doesn't help. But like, whatever. So he was like, I think you'd be really good at it. And he was like, it's fun. He like sold it to me basically. And I was like kind of hesitant, but I also was like, I don't really like, I'm not in that many like clubs. Like I'm in a sorority and then I'm in Army ROTC, but like I'm not in, and I'm like in the Michigan Squirrel Feeding Club. But like I'm not in that many, like a ton of camp organizations. So like, sure, why not? Like say yes to everything, why not? So I applied and he basically was like, yeah, like I basically, I kind of asked him, I was like, are you going to like kind of get my application through? And he was like, no, I can't do that. But like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, yeah, I can. And I was like, okay. So I applied and then I did my interview and they told me that I got it. And I was like, sure, like this seems like fun. And like, yeah, so it totally got sold to me by Brady. And he loved it. And so he sold it to me with only the best.
How quickly did you realize how wrong he was?
Maybe the first time that we had anything after 11 p.m. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Maybe around that time. I misjudged. This is partially on me because like so second semester sophomore year, this is like a ROTC specific thing, but I had just taken on the role of color guard commander for Army ROTC. And that's a job that you have for a calendar year. So I had it for the second semester of my sophomore year while I played Survivor. And then I had it for the first semester of my junior year. And that was a job that I really did not enjoy having in ROTC. It was a lot of work and very little reward. And it took up a lot of my time. And so I really had a lot less time than I thought I was going to have to do things like play this game. So part of it was the fact that I realized I wasn't really having that good of a time because it's a game built on things that I don't really enjoy, like lying to other people. And I also just didn't have that as much free time as I would have liked to actually maybe like play it properly and like do all of the kind of like conniving you have to do with like other people and like strategizing and meeting up and like talking and like having these calls or like meeting up in person. Like I didn't really have a lot of time to do that because I was busy doing this job with ROTC. And I'm just busy in general because of ROTC, but it was two things got added to my plate at once. And I didn't really know that I didn't know that either of them were going to be the massive time sucks that they were. I didn't think that Survivor was going to be the massive time suck that it was, you know?
You thought it was just like this like fun like little club that like
yeah.
you know, your friend's boyfriend was like talking like, oh yeah, this is really fun, you should do it. Then it's like turns into this like this massive thing.
Way too seriously. This is a fake game of Survivor that like 2,000 people watch. Chill. Like chill.
Facts,
it's not that serious.
So do you agree with this random dude who DM'd you that you were completely robbed and that you had it in the bag and they just didn't understand the genius?
Yeah, okay, he wasn't saying that I had it in the bag or anything. He basically was like, you kind of got robbed throughout the whole season because you basically you got screwed by production because they wouldn't work around your schedule and you said you didn't want to do it and like that's fine, but you still showed up and competed, and so the jury should have given you the time of day at Find a Tribal. And I read it and I was like, I'm so happy you see it that way. I don't really care, especially I don't think I cared very much then. I certainly don't care now. And I think it would have been hilariously funny if I had won.
I agree. That would have been the best ending. It would have been so funny.
I definitely think that everyone else should have gotten on that train and figured that out. But like again, they take it too seriously. Everyone who plays this game takes it way too seriously. And they wanted the real winner to win, the person who had really played the best game of Survivor. Like, fuck that. It's way better TV if I win. Like that twist ending would have been great. So like I agree with the guy who DM'd me, but like I'm like it would have been far funnier if I had won. Like
it would have definitely been the most entertaining ending possible.
Oh right? Yeah, it would have been a great. It would have been like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, like complete twist ending out of nowhere.
I don't know how you would have ever managed to edit that to make it make any sense. You wouldn't have been able to. You would have had to edit it like Dale's the winner, and then all of a sudden
Actually, no. This has been
Yeah.
This has been a joke that I've been having with some of the other like editing people, is that I actually was saying that I believe that with only the footage that exists, there is a version that could be edited where you look like the mastermind of everything. Because even though you hate the game and all this stuff, you filmed plenty of videos. So you filmed enough videos where you're just like describing whatever plan you guys have. You'll be like, this is what Shannon told me we're doing. All I have to do is cut out the part where it says this is what Shannon told me, and you're just saying this is what we're doing, and we're all lying to Matthew and whatever, and we just make it look like you're a genius. We can cut out all of the idols and all this stuff because it really doesn't matter. Just cut out all of that, make everybody else look like a total idiot, and you're just like a genius.
I think you should do that. I think you should release like Survivor 4, like Wolverine Wars, like I don't even know what you would call it. Like
I don't know, the cat cut or something like that. The squirrel edition.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, yes. Perfect.
In this edition, Dale's just like a crazy old man that just has like these wacky little videos of him dressing up, and then that's about it.
He's like a creepy old man everyone hates in this version.
Let's
basically.
talk about the fact that a 28-year-old adult like played this game. Like I like Dale perfectly fine, but like what the fuck do you what? You thought a good idea for your spare time was to play College Survivor with a bunch of kids who are like a decade your junior. You have to have better things to do, my guy. Like I'm glad you had a good time, but like, oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare. Because for me, we're all kind of we're all more or less the same age, like in the like 22 to 24 age range, right? Like imagine if we like went to a high school like with a bunch of high school freshmen and sophomores and we're like, I want to play a game with you guys. Like these are children. I like what? How do they even talk to us?
That's true.
I don't know.
Dale just loves Survivor so much. He almost got on the real show, so he was like, I want to do the closest thing that can get to the real show. Yeah,
he got like trying to apply.
I don't know. I'll ask him. Probably.
Yeah, because like I wonder if his like Survivor dreams are continuing, or if he's like, fuck it, I won like College Survivor, that's enough glory for me.
Oh no! See, what's gonna happen is he's gonna get on CBS Survivor, and then everyone's gonna watch. Everyone will watch this season, and then all of a sudden your Squirrels account is gonna get like thousands of followers.
Dale, I need you to come through, all right? I need Dale to come through and get on that.
Yes,
I'm not gonna promote this shit.
we all have reason to want Dale to get on CBS Survivor at this point.
That would be the only episodes of CBS Survivor that I would ever watch. Would be just to watch Dale.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
What do you say to like any friends of yours who are like, oh, like, we should watch the show that you're on? Like, wouldn't that be fun?
I tell them, I react, I'm like, God, no, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. And then I tell them rather honestly, I'm like, that's like funny, like jokes. And they certainly would get a good laugh out of like how embarrassing I was like 2 years ago. Like, I'm sure I said some cringy shit. Like, I don't even want to watch. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it not only because I don't have any interest in Survivor, but also I don't want to watch myself make an ass of myself for like several weeks. So I didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to watch myself on the screen either. So I would tell them, I'm like, you can watch it and you could just watch it for me, and like that's funny, but like I can't stress enough how little I think you will actually enjoy the show itself. Because I didn't enjoy making it, and I don't think any of you guys would have enjoyed making it, and I don't think any of you would enjoy watching it. None of them watch Real Survivor. I have like one friend who watches Real Survivor. None of the rest of them do. I'm like, you guys wouldn't be interested in this. Like, it's funny to watch it for me, but the rest of it you will not be entertained by at all. So like that's honestly a compelling ass argument for them, usually. So I haven't actually had any friends watch it as far as I know. They have jokes that they're going to and like kind of threatened that they're going to, but like I haven't had any of my close friends watch it.
You've scared them away from now.
Did you like you're talking, you've like blocked this from your memory, right? Like as far as you're concerned, this basically did not occur. So like were you surprised when it started like coming out, or when you started hearing that it might actually come out? Was that like a shock to the system? Did you expect that to happen?
I mean, no, because I'm still in all those group chats. Like, I have them all muted, but I go in and, like, if there's, like, juicy drama happening, like, I kind of, like, idly scroll through and see what's happening in the big group chat. Because, like, I like drama when it doesn't affect my life, which is why I like do things like follow Kim Kardashian on Instagram. Like that's other people's drama that I can read about. So like, yeah, I'm still in all the group chats. I'll probably leave them soon. I don't need to be like in a million group meet chats anymore. But so I'm still in those. So like I saw when they were like kind of editing it and like getting ready to release it and like all the kind of not promo, but like the kind of hype that happens in the group chats before like the season came out. I saw that. I saw the poster that came out. Like that. Did you get that done, Sam? Like you had somebody make that?
Oh, yeah, Eric, right? You know the Eric, right? Back the CBS guy that your tribe that one challenge. Right? Back him, he made it.
Oh, I didn't know that he's the one that made that. Yeah, so that was cool. My only critique is I don't know what the fuck I'm wearing in it.
I said this too. I said this also.
To be
I was like,
ROTC uniform. I think
it's blue.
I don't know. Like,
I agree with you.
Eric must have did it the wrong color.
I agree with you. I did not think it looked anything like you. I was like, this. I can't tell who this person's supposed to be.
I could identify myself more because I could like do process of elimination for like everyone else on my side of it, and because I thought he got my hair like kind of close, but like I was like, I don't know what I looked like. I was wearing like a Canadian tuxedo or something, like denim on top, denim on bottom. But I thought the poster was neat. So like I see things in the group chats. I saw like there's like I'm in the girls one too. Like there's like an all girls one that I'm in that I should leave also because nothing really happens in it. But so like
Sam and I can't speak to that one.
Yeah, I just no, neither of you can. But like I just kind of loosely follow when people talk. It's like what hair anyone got their hair done recently, like at this place, like do you recommend it? Or like, hey, does anyone like need a roommate? I'm moving to like New York. Like that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yep. Now you got to stay in them for the drama though, because you never know what'll happen next. This is a roller coaster to be in those group chats. Sometimes.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like maybe I kind of was like thinking about a good date for me to like leave them because it is. I like seeing what other people are like saying and what they're doing. Like I don't want to leave the chats. Like I don't like really dislike any of you guys at all. It's just kind of I don't really participate. But I'm kind of like I was like maybe when I graduate I should leave because that seems like a good time to like purge my group meets. And now I'm like maybe when I like go to flight school I'll go ahead and like delete my entire GroupMe account and then that'll just get rid of all of them in one fell swoop. And I won't have to deal with leaving like all my sorority group chats and like all of my like Survivor group chats and like the 500 ROTC group chats I'm in. Like I can just delete the whole account and be done with it.
It's true.
One fell swoop.
Speaking of which, like, it's been 2 years since all this stuff was recorded. Like, what have you been up to since then? Like, what are you doing these days?
Yeah, so I mean, I graduated. There's that. I graduated from the University of Michigan. So that was cool. The junior year was fun. There was a pandemic. Senior year was also fun. There was a pandemic, but that was neat. But between sophomore and junior year, I went to Brazil as like a study abroad that the Army paid for, so I can speak Portuguese even better than I could when I was on the show. I don't even remember if I talked about that, but like now I can speak Portuguese. And then junior year was fun. I started drinking. I didn't drink when I was a sophomore. Now I do because I turned 21. So that was cool. That was honestly kind of the only thing that happened my junior year.
Nice milestone.
Then a pandemic hit. And then senior year, I'm an English major and I did the sub-concentration for creative writing. So I wrote like a 70-page creative writing thesis that was like a fiction, like kind of the first part of the book. So that was cool. And then I graduated and commissioned, so I'm officially second lieutenant in the Army. And I'm going to Fort Rucker, Alabama in December for flight school. So I will learn how to fly helicopters for the Army. And I'll get out in probably about 18 months, and then I will have 10 years of my life to be in the Army. It's not 4 anymore. I probably said it was 4 years back sophomore year. It is now 10 because I'm a pilot, or I will be a pilot. So.
It's cool, though. Helicopter pilot?
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
I don't know what I'll fly. I don't know whether it'll be like Apaches or Blackhawks or Chinooks, but hopefully it's Blackhawks or Apaches. Those are the cooler ones. But any would be fine. I think any would be cool and fun. So
nice. So you'll hit your 10 years, and then you'll come back to Michigan when you're 30 and play Survivor Michigan again, right?
Just like Dale.
Yeah. Yeah, when I get out.
When you get out, you'll be the same age Dale was for season 45.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, when I'm 34 years
all
old
lining up.
and I get out, I'll come back for grad school and I'll have like 3 kids by then, and I'll definitely play Survivor Michigan.
Amazing.
If it's still running by then, I will be Honestly, I'll be happy for them. I'll just be happy.
Oh yeah,
Really?
You'll be like a legend, but
yeah. Oh, I'll come back and be like, I was on this show back when you only had 2,000 followers on YouTube, and they're like, well, we have like 3 now, like 3 total. And I'm like, yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why you're still filming it.
But we're like, those are the good old. They were like, those are the good old days.
Yeah, I really got it when it was
like,
good, huh?
Oh, you were back on it when people watched the show. No one's watched the show in years.
Oh my god. I wonder how long it'll keep going for. Like, there has to be an end. Like, I watch like RuPaul's Drag Race keep going, and I'm like, they gotta end the show at some point. But I guess Survivor, like Real Survivor, is on like season 50 or something stupid.
Yeah, that's true. But the seasons get worse as the longer they go because it's just like the same thing. I kind of feel like for Survivor Michigan is like, I feel like it's more supposed to be for like people that want to play Survivor, get to have an experience, meet some new people, whatever. As long as people keep wanting to play it, I'm sure they'll
like
keep
I feel like the club might continue on, but I don't know
yeah.
how long they'll keep doing like the show part of it. You know,
how long
that'll be tough.
It, right?
Yeah, like they might just start doing it without filming it at some point. I don't know when that would be.
Would still be fun. Like for the fucking nerds, I
guess.
Yeah. Do you guys think,
exactly.
I wondered when like the people who kind of like Dale, like people who actually gave a shit about the show and like wanted to apply to be on, or like Adam, I guess, like had dreams of actually being on like Real Survivor. Like, do you think this show, like being on it, is like a resume builder for being on Real Survivor? Like, would CBS look at that and be like, oh, like that makes them a more compelling applicant?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because this girl wasn't on the show, but one of the people who co-founded Survivor Michigan, it just got announced as being on the new season of Big Brother, which is like a similar type of thing. Yeah. So that's so kind of, I don't know. And I know like people, Maggie from season 2 had like got reached out to by some sort of recruiter or something like that. I definitely think that eventually someone from Survivor Michigan will get on the real show. That's my hot take prediction. I don't know who it'll be.
I don't disagree.
Like, I don't know who it'll be, but I feel like eventually, especially because like the real show is so many years in that they need more gimmicks. Like eventually they might just be like, all right, a bunch of people who are on these college shows, let's just bring them
they'll
on.
have like a college Survivor, Real Survivor season where it's like,
I could see that happening.
Would you go on the CBS show, the Real Survivor Cat, if they recruited you?
Fuck no. Fuck
yeah.
No.
If they reached out to you, they were like, "We love you. We need you on it." Like,
I would not make it that far. So first of all, in flight school there's something called SEER school or SEER training, and it's like your survival school for like 3 weeks, and it's like if you get shot down over enemy territory, like how to survive and then how to be a.
So you got good. So Survivor Michigan gave you good experience training for that.
That's nuts. See, that's enough. SEER is where it stops. I'm not doing any more Survivor shit after that. All right. Unless I get shot down over enemy territory. That's enough of that. Like, you won't catch me doing it voluntarily. That's for fucking sure.
Yep.
I don't know. Did you have any least favorite aspect of the entire situation?
Of the entire thing? I really was not a fan of the scheduling, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, I remember that one challenge that, like, sucked shit. I don't even remember what it was, but it was in the very beginning. And it sucked. And I was furious about it. And I like reamed the production person who did it. I don't even remember who it was. I reamed them in my confessionals and like probably to their fucking face. Like at some point, like during tribal or something, I was so mad. Because I'm pretty sure we lost. And so we had to go to tribal. And I think all I talked about that tribal was probably how much I hated the challenge and how badly constructed it was. So I will say that I really didn't like some of the challenges. I thought they were ill constructed. If you put a gun to my head and told me which ones, I couldn't tell you. Because I truly don't remember, but I remember like feeling that like I was very annoyed at how poorly constructed some of the challenges were. I'm sure it's obvious watching the show which ones I was mad about the most. And I also didn't really like the scheduling. That was like, it was actually very difficult for me to have to be waking up at 5 a.m. 3 days a week. And often the night before I would be coming home at like 1 a.m. because I'd been up doing fucking tribal or doing some stupid challenge. And I still had to change and put my hair in a braid and brush my teeth and wash my face. Like that was it was quite inconvenient to say the least. And I was also sick for a lot of second semester. And I don't think it really affected Survivor, but it did affect my like life in ROTC. Like it affected how I was like working out, like the PT that I had to do. Like I think I had a cough that like wouldn't go away for a long time. And so that was also annoying because it certainly was not helped by like not sleeping a lot, and Survivor didn't really help in that aspect at all.
Do you wish you would quit? Do you wish you would quit, or did you like think about quitting?
You always said like, "Oh, I'm gonna quit."
Because you always talked about it in the videos. You're always like, "Ah, maybe I'll just quit and you'll just be done with it."
Yeah, I hated it. I wish I could have quit. The reason I didn't quit is because I felt that I was worried that it would reflect poorly on ROTC and on HED, because I didn't want to. I'm sure my presence did not reflect well on those organizations, it being in the show, but I was worried that quitting would make them look worse. Like it would be like, oh, like the girl from ROTC didn't do it, or like, oh, the girl from HED didn't do it. Like kind of like that. I was worried that I was representing my organizations, like kind of with my presence on the show, and that it would, if I quit, like it's kind of ridiculous to think about, because I'm sure nobody's watching the show thinking this, but like if I quit, then it would be like, oh, well, she's in ROTC, like, and she quit, like all of ROTC must be like that. Like, of course, ROTC must be full of like these like quitters or something. Like it was like a weird like sportsmanship thing that I was thinking, where it would like reflect badly on my teams if I quit, which is goofy to think about, because I kind of wish I had quit, because I didn't enjoy myself. But like, I was worried.
I'm glad you stuck with it.
Be a bad look.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you were a great character on the season. Like whether or not you enjoyed your time there, I'm glad
you're hilarious.
Yo, you were great. The
you're
fans
hilarious.
You were hilarious.
All that
it was funny. It was really funny.
Oh, that absolutely. Is ultimately all that really matters, to be honest. So
yeah. It's a game for fun at the end of the day. Like you're trying to create something that's fun for people and fun to watch. So like that's what you want. You know,
how I thought whenever I was doing confessionals, was like to kind of talk to the camera as if almost everything that I said would be played. And I know I said like sometimes in confession I'd be like, oh, don't put that in. Like I can't say that. Like don't put that in. I don't know whether those wishes were honored or not. I didn't fucking watch it. But like everything that I said, I kind of would say like with the idea that it would maybe be viewed or maybe be put in. And so I wanted to give you guys like footage to work with, basically, so you didn't have to so that it was usable, I guess. And I know I put in like probably like an hour of like total fucking garbage on like every single confessional, but like I didn't want to make the editors' lives harder. Like I wanted to give you guys shit to work with, which is why I did so much like recapping of what happened, because I was like, that's what we were told to do, and goddamn, that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
I guess one other.
Made my life miserable. I hated that.
No, that was no. Yours were good. Yours were very, very. It was great, because what's bad is if people just like don't film anything, right? Then it's like the person doesn't come off as a character on the show. It doesn't matter what your character is. If your character was just, I kind of hate being here, as long as it's funny, that's good TV, you know? Like, so I appreciate it. And it spices it up from all the other people who are just saying the same boring stuff about how they like want to win. That's not interesting. What's interesting is someone who doesn't want to win. And it's like, oh my God, why am I doing this?
I hate this. I want to lose. I want to get kicked off immediately.
Exactly. That's great.
Also follow the scroll account.
Follow the scroll account.
Yeah. Follow
People also definitely, I think, would want to know if you're still in contact with like Shannon or Ivy at all.
Yeah, so we, Shannon and Ivy and I have a group chat. We've had a group chat since, like, I think we, like, had an alliance for, like, a hot second. We've had a group chat, like, kind of since then. And it's, like, intermittently active. Like, we're not, like, constantly talking to each other or anything. But, like, we talk occasionally. Like sometimes if like something's happening with the show, sometimes if it's not, like one of Ivy's brothers like really liked me, and so she would like tell me when they were watching the show as a family, she'd be like, oh, my brother is like really rooting for you, and I'd be like, that's really funny, like don't tell him what happens. And like Shannon would sometimes be like, she'd like be in the chat like talking about, like I think Matthew texted her and she was like, I literally don't have this number saved, like who is this? And she was like, I didn't really want to talk to him at all. Like, Jesus. But like, so sometimes we talk in the group chats, just like kind of shooting the shit about nothing. Dale has texted me a couple times just kind of to, like, see what I'm up to, and I'm like, oh yeah, hey man, like, what's up? He said stuff like, he's like, I really enjoy playing with you, and I'm like, thanks. Like, I don't think he's lying per se, but like, I literally have no idea what was true and what was not out of anything that he told me the entire time that we played. So like, because I didn't even know that he had been lying about a bunch of stuff until like the fucking jury, like the very end, the finale. So I was like, oh, I can like never trust another word out of this guy's mouth ever again. Like, whether it's related to the game or not, like, I just can't do that. Like, I would like probably never trust anything Matthew ever tells me again either. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I met them through this game, and I understand that it was the game, but like, we didn't have any trust that existed beforehand because I met them for the game. So like, why would I? Like, I obviously don't have it now. So I'm like, oh yeah, sure, you like enjoyed playing the game with me. Like, yeah, all right, me too, guy. Like, hope you're having a good time with your wife. The fucking wife that you had while you played this stupid game with a bunch of undergraduate children.
You gotta think his wife must have been like, what are you doing? Like, he'd be like, oh yeah, tonight I have to go like compete in a challenge where we're like stacking cups or something dumb.
No, I have to go wiggle down a fucking like volleyball court at midnight. Like, bye babe. See you when I get back, covered in sand. Okay. Totally bananas. But yeah, so sometimes I talk to people, like, not really like meaningfully in contact with anybody, but like I occasionally, if I'm reached out to, like, I respond, we chat for a little bit, and then we like kind of leave, and like Ivy and Shannon and I like still talk sometimes. Like, yeah.
Sam, what else? What else you got?
I guess just to finish off, like, are there any positives that came out of the whole thing for you? I know there's some negatives, but like, I don't know, anything positive, like anything best memory from looking back, any of that?
I don't know. I mean, I look back on it like with like, and think of it like so negatively, and I know that like was not like, that's not the whole thing that it was. You know what I mean? Like, some of the challenges were fun, and like winning feels good. Like, winning anything feels good. So like, anytime my tribe won, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, you get like that kind of rush of dopamine from, or like whatever, dopamine or serotonin or whatever it is. But like, you get that rush of like happy chemical when you win something, whether it's something as like stupid as this show, or like whether it's a fucking like actual sporting event or like a Nobel Prize. Like, you still get that rush of like, I won something. So like, that was like, when that was fun. Like, those parts were fun. Like that one, I like, what was that challenge? Like, there was like pickle juice involved and like a crossword puzzle, and
Oh yeah,
that, like,
the one that Nate almost won and then didn't.
Yeah, well, like, it was one of the longer ones. It might have been that one, might have not been that one, but like, the person I think it was like, we wanted Dale to win, or we wanted Matthew to win, and he did, or I like straight don't remember. Like, but it was.
I think it was when you guys were all ganging up on Nate to make sure Nate did not win, so you could vote him off.
That sounds like it's correct. Yeah, no, I think you're right, because like, and I remember Dale had figured out, like, we were all still kind of struggling through like random other challenges. There was like a paper airplane or something, and
yeah.
And like, I sucked at that one, and like, I think Shannon, like, maybe somebody else sucked at it. I don't remember if it was Shannon or not, but and Dale had figured out that the only thing that mattered, once we had one person who had completed everything, one person like in our little allegiance who had completed everything, that all that mattered was getting him to win the crossword puzzle. And Dale was like, I can take penalties for helping him. If it doesn't matter if I take penalties, like, I can go help him, because all that matters is if he wins. And I remember like, when I realized that was what he was doing, I was like, that's so fucking smart. And we are so gonna win. And that's so fun. It's like, in the moment, there were definitely fun moments, like where, or like, what was it? The one, I think this was one of the first challenges when we were like post merge maybe or something, but like, it was, I was like wrapped around like a pole, and like Dale and Jackson had to like try and unwrap me from the pole, and we had met up before, and they were basically like, we're not gonna try very hard. And so that was like just kind of funny, like kind of being in on it, like with like people from another tribe, like having that alliance, and like it actually happening and like working and not like being betrayed, like actually being part of an in-group that was successful and like stayed an in-group and nobody betrayed it was like those things are fun. Like those in the moment, those are fun. They don't like contribute to like productive, trusting relationship with anybody that I met, but like they're fun in the moment. So
Yep. There you go. There you
and
go.
I like Shannon and I like Ivy, and I don't even really dislike most people that I met, because I don't really remember any reason that I should dislike them anymore. So
Hey, at the end of the day, met some people that you liked, and you got at least 20 Squirrel followers.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Yep, net positive.
I made it all the way to the top 3, and that is satisfying to me because I know it pissed Matthew off so bad, and that is delicious. That eats my soul. I think about how I told him to die mad about it, and I think about how pleased Shannon must have been listening to that, and I'm like, I love it.
That was very close to being the name of the last episode. It was very close to being called "Die Mad About It" because I thought that was really funny. But it didn't end up being that. But
you kept it.
Yeah, that 100% that's in there, 100%. And it cuts to Matthew, and he looks really irritated. It's really funny.
People talk about that in the comments.
People loved that moment. People loved that moment.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Because at that point, I was just like, I'm here out of spite, and you suck. So
yeah. You had some good points. You were like, you think I played bad, but you must have played even worse if you're not up here and I am. So
suck my dick.
So would you come back, Kat, if they invited you back for Survivor Michigan All-Stars or whatever they do? Yeah. Would you do something like that?
No, absolutely not. No, you couldn't pay me. No. I would be voted off instantly, and I would like that. I would like to be voted off instantly.
I was joking that like in the in some of the episodes you talked about how you like want to be the host. And I was saying that I thought you'd be a good host, but you'd be hilarious because when people would get voted out, you would tell them congratulations. You know, you'd be like, I'm so happy for you. You no longer have to do this stupid fucking game.
Literally, that would have been me. I'd been like, you want to be voted off. Like, you don't want to be in this game. Trust me. I don't know. I think being the host would be, like, not fun because, like, I don't, like, not really fun. But, like, I like the idea of, like, kind of the concept of, like, being, like, a game show talk host, like, that kind of thing. So, in that way, it would be fun. But, like, not maybe for this organization for me.
Well, do you have any final thoughts on your whole Survivor experience? Anything you want the fans to know? You know, to all your fans out there?
Hey,
to my mom?
At that one guy, at Ian's mom, and at that one guy who DM'd me on Instagram, I'm sorry I let you down. Well, I'm sorry I let your mom down, to be honest, because I know she was really pulling for me, and that was a mistake. So I'm really sorry, Ms. Harris. You were quite nice when I met you. And to anybody who's thinking about DMing me on Instagram, I won't respond, so don't do that. Maybe just write it in your diary. But thank you for being such a fan. You should get a better hobby than watching this show. But other than that, I'm glad that you watched it. Somehow you came away with a positive impression of me, because I don't really know how the fuck you did that. But like, I guess thanks to Survivor for having me on. Shout out to Brady for making me apply.
For the people out there not familiar with the intricacies of Kat's relationship with my mom, basically Kat met my mom at a social function and realized that I edited Survivor Michigan and was like, "Why did your mom watch this? She should be ashamed. She should be ashamed of what you've done and the horrible thing you've created."
Yes, you should be. Honestly, look what you've enabled.
Yeah.
As long as it's good on your resume, I don't fault you for it. But like, you have perpetuated this nonsense for far too long. You are complicit in terrible crimes against humanity for this one. But shout out your mom.
Shout out. All right.
Sorry,
well, on that note, it's been great talking with you, Kat, as always.
Thank you for having me on. You guys are lovely.
Absolutely. All right.
You as well.
You as well.
All right. I'll peace out. Farewell.
Peace out.